All right, guys, this episode is brought to you by Coke Zero Spiced.
Oh,
Whoa, that's a
sponsored?
big sponsor.
Spiced.
Spending
Spiced.
that money.
It is.
Ooh. PC, you lost
Current
me.
Cinema is brought to you by Zevia.
That's too many.
Hold on.
It's too
Did I
many.
say
Cinema
Dr.
is sponsored
Zevia?
by just
Yeah, it's
peach
Dr.
tea.
Zevia. It's Dr.
I
Pepper.
like that.
tea.
That tea's great.
peach
Yeah.
tea.
I was
Yeah.
drinking that
Oh,
last
wow.
episode, I think.
Peace tea.
Yeah.
That's
Mango green tea.
Yeah.
As you
Very,
guys can see,
very
we've grown a lot in the last
masculine
week. We have a
beverage.
lot of sponsors now.
we're a big
Wow, we're
effing
doing
deal.
really well. Yeah.
Pretty great. Things are going great. We've all quit our jobs. We're making so much money from this thing.
Oh my
It's
God.
amazing.
Dude,
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh.
Zevia backed up the Brinks truck for me. It's crazy.
Yeah, so this is episode 215 of the Current Gen podcast. The whole crew is here. Tim, Dan, Kyle, and Jeff. Guys, we thought we did it. We made it. We're all back. It's been a little while. We're all here.
WrestleMania was a lot. I should have taken Monday off.
Yeah. Yeah, WrestleMania
It was just
a lot.
emotionally.
The
It was
post
a lot.
WrestleMania blues that everybody else had.
I may have cried all night on Sunday. I don't know.
Sure.
It's a
You don't
blur.
even know if you did.
It's a blur.
It's
I
real to
started
me,
and who
damn
knows
it.
when it stopped. It could have been 3 in the morning. I
Story's
stopped.
complete.
It's awesome.
It was a
I
culmination.
did watch some. I
would
did
say.
watch some of the
was.
follow up clips with like Rock coming out, and like I forgot how long they take but like to not only enter. I relearned that during WrestleMania. The entrances
Yeah.
takes
It's
so
like 40% people walking down the
long.
stage, right?
Yeah, but then staring at each other and then like staring at the crowd.
Yeah,
They'll start to
it's
say
all
something,
part of it.
then they'll look at the crowd. Like I forgot
does
how
this.
long there is.
He
Yeah.
smells
Right,
the
right.
air. You know, he's got
A
to
lot of-
smell the sweaty air.
You're like,
all the
shit, I
sweat.
got stuff. I got a laundry
Yeah.
load to do.
I got
Like,
work in the morning, man. We got commercials too. You gotta hurry
Yeah.
this up, bro.
Yeah, but it was funny because I was watching the clip of that Monday night, and they probably only really said maybe 5 things back and forth to each other, but it took like 20 minutes. It was
Yeah.
such a long clip, but it was still entertaining. Like,
I was
don't get
gonna
me
say, I
wrong,
bet it was still awesome.
it was great. It was
Yeah.
great. But I was like, whew, that is a
You
lot
could
of time.
kind of feel a pin drop because I don't know, the build up to WrestleMania was so legitimately it was bloody at one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So it was like, are they gonna start fighting?
Cool.
What's gonna happen? So it was just kind of that there
Yeah.
was that tension there. The Rock brought too much movie shit into the promo, so it was like had to slow things down and shut your mouth, enjoy the ride. But the Rock is taking you. Okay.
I get it. I get
Also,
it.
what's this whole Netflix thing? Is it wrestling's just going to come to Netflix now? Like, what's the
Yeah.
deal with that?
Monday
Like,
Night Raw is, yes, in
Wow.
2025. Yeah.
that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So
'cause
many
I don't think
boobs
it
and
doesn't
sex jokes.
stream
about to show up.
live. It doesn't stream live right now, right? Unless you have a live TV service, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
I
it's,
really
it's
think
huge.
are they
It's
going to
huge.
R it up a little bit? You think going to Netflix?
I mean, they already started to with the Rock
Yeah.
coming out being like "F this" and shit.
yeah.
He was
Oh,
taking the belt
so-
to that guy in the whatever wherever it
They
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
had
fake
this-
belt or something, right? Yeah.
On,
Yeah.
they aired WrestleMania on not just pay per view like normal, but on Peacock, and like they had to censor so much of him shouting.
But they didn't do a good job. There were times when it slipped right
No.
through, and it was like, well,
Yeah.
Nice.
There was a
Oh,
great
yeah.
moment where he told the ref to stop counting them out. I'll
Yeah.
fire you because he's on
Yeah.
the board of directors.
he
and
says,
that's
"I'm not
yeah.
effing around. I'll
God,
fire
I love
you."
It. I love
Yeah.
it.
And, like,
That's
there was
amazing.
no
And
like.
they totally missed the effing around part.
Oh,
They
the mics
missed it
picked all of it up.
completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
such
they
a
could-
fun
they
WrestleMania.
could triple
Sometimes
down
that 4
with it.
second delay ain't enough, you know?
It was not.
Right.
The guy who was hitting the mute button was like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, he was asleep
so
at the wheel.
I am fired.
He's
I
like,
am
oh,
so
if
fired.
Vince was here, I'd so be fired. You know,
Well, yeah.
like immediately.
Triple H is like sitting backstage, like hell yeah,
Yeah.
let them all slip.
Yeah, he's just doing this backstage.
Yeah,
Oh man, the whole time.
DX are the ones in charge of wrestling now. It's crazy to think of.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
isn't
it
Shawn
is
Michaels
kinda
in
weird.
charge of
Yes.
NXT?
Yeah, he does NXT, which is a developmental
Wow.
program with all the up and
That's-
comers.
DX is actually in charge for
Yes.
Raw now.
yeah. Because if there's one thing Shawn Michaels is good at, it's taking care of the new guys. You know what I mean?
Yes,
He's
yeah.
definitely got a legacy.
That was
in
his
doing-
reputation, I think. Yeah. Yeah, that's what he was known for. Oh my goodness. All right, well, we've got some gaming stuff to talk about. And listen, I'm not going to apologize when a massive game comes out that occupies pretty much all of us for many weeks. We're going to keep talking about it. So we're going to talk more about Rebirth and our additional thoughts on it. I know Kyle finished it, so we want to talk a little more about that. Too bad if you don't want to hear about it. We got Fallout, the new TV show. I think all of us watched at least one episode of it. So we can at least talk about our opening feelings and vibes and what we think about how the show kicked off. And then we actually are going to start things off with a new segment. called Opencritic Predictions. It's going to be really hard for you to figure out what we're doing with this segment, guys.
No clue.
So I picked 3 games that are coming out over the next few weeks, and we're going to predict what we think the Opencritic average, kind of the aggregate score, is going to be. Now, the reason I'm not doing Metacritic is because there's multiple platforms. That gets really confusing. Although I do realize Metacritic's the more well-known one, but Opencritic I like because it consolidates all the platforms for each game into one number. So that's what we're going to be guessing. So the 3 games are Stellar Blade, which comes out in about a week and a half, just almost 2 weeks. Then we've got Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, which comes out in 10 days.
Game
Sheesh,
Pass. Day 1 Game Pass.
It's on Game Pass, that's right. And it's on every console and PC if you really want to buy it somewhere. But yes, Game Pass. Why wouldn't you use that if you already have it? And then Sandland, which is also, I think, a 26th release, I think. Anyway, they're all coming out over the next couple of weeks. What is it?
No, I didn't know that was the same day or what.
Because
it's
Yeah,
26.
Stellar Blade and
Blade,
Sandland, I think, are the same day, right? Yeah.
I think so. I think they're both
And
26.
Eiyuden is like the week before or
It's
something.
like 23rd. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got some games coming out. So let's do it. Let's predict. Of course, on a scale of 0 to 100. I don't know any game's ever gotten 100 on the aggregate scoring, because there's always a couple of like rotten apples in the reviews, like this isn't good, 6, and it's like, all right, well,
Yeah.
average is at a 97 now.
Man.
There's always a few of those.
There's always.
Which, by the way, Stellar Blade, the one we'll talk about, I saw some podcast clip. I won't even say the name of it. It was just really annoying. It was funny because what I saw the clip of was someone making fun of them as they called Stellar Blade a conservative bastion for gaming because it's celebrating like how men objectify women all over again. It was such a funny little clip. I was like, you like a parody of yourself at this point when you're complaining about this. But
It's out of control.
We're all praying at the altar of purgation again in gaming, everybody.
Because guys, I don't know about you. When I think of like conservatives, I think of people who just love boobs and butts in their face, right? That's what I think of.
And I must be super conservative,
Yeah,
Dan's an ultra conservative.
I think we have to change the name of that word then, if that's the word we're going to
Dan's actually he's changing his voter registration right now.
I'm changing
like,
sides.
I'm changing.
I'm flipping. I'm a heel now. I'm a heel.
It's his heel reign.
Shut your mouth. Enjoy the ride. That Dan
Shut your goddamn mouth. Give me all my
Guys,
boob.
I've got the Stellar Blade demo downloaded. I still haven't played it, and I blame Square for making Rebirth and releasing it because that's all I'm playing right now. But so it's there. I'm ready to try it out. I do plan on trying it out to determine whether or not I'm going to pull the trigger and buy it or not. But you guys, before we get into our score predictions, we think this game is going to be good and well received, right? That's the vibe I'm getting from people.
I think so.
Yes. Yeah.
How well received, though? Dan, let's kick it off with you. What do you think the aggregate score is going to be as far as critics go? Of course, we're doing critic scoring, not the user scoring.
So I tried to do some science in my brain here because I pulled up the notes and I was like, oh, I see what we're doing here. All right. So I'm trying to do some science.
Science time. All right.
I think we're gonna get heavy. I think we're gonna get heavy pointages for boobs and all of that. You know,
for or against.
For,
okay.
But also against, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be like a lot of up and downs. It's gonna be
They might cancel each other out.
Sure. So then really what is left over is the game actually fun to play? The thing that matters is the game actually good.
So the science doesn't matter now. Yeah.
I'm going to say 81.
Dan's predicting 81 on the Opencritic average. By the way, this will be mostly like when we look back to see who won, because I'm going to do a couple of these over the next several months. And then like whoever has essentially the lowest total score. So basically I'll tally up how far off you were from the actual one. And then whoever has the fewest amount of points wins overall across, we'll probably do like 9 to 12 games or something like that. So whoever has it's kind of golf, fewest points. So like the closer you are to it, fewer points you get, which is good. You want the fewest points. All right. So Jeff, what do you think? What was the last bet? What is that game? Price is Right. Yeah. I'm gonna go 82. Dang it. No. That's actually the reason I was so intrigued by Dan's guess is because mine is actually in the ballpark. I do think that the combat is going to be a subject of, well, I mean, it's all subjective really, but there's going to be some mixed feelings on it because it's either going to be not Souls-like enough or too Souls-like or the game doesn't know what it is, blah, blah, blah. Like I feel like there's going to be a little bit of that in the reviews.
So I'm guessing like 84.
84.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's still going to skew positive. I definitely think it'll. And also the story, I don't think it's going to be like amazing. So that's just a hunch, So I think there's going to be some points docked off a little bit for that.
Okay. 84. All right, Kyle, what do you think?
84 has literally been the number I've been screaming since the beginning of this whole entire thing. But just for the sportsmanship of it, I'm not going to choose that because that's boring. Okay. No, that's boring. If this is like a slight competitive edge to this, I'll say 82.
Ooh.
Oh. Tim's gonna say 83, and we're all just one away from each other.
I really think it's gonna be low 80s. It'll be like the definition of an 8.
Yeah.
Where it falls in that like 8, I think it'll be in that like lower 5. But,
which to people without literacy will just be like, oh, that's bad then. 8's bad.
Yeah, no,
right?
of course.
Starfield is so
stupid. Right.
Did we bump up the number? Now 8's and below, like 8's. Anything 8 and below.
Oh no, that's not what it wasn't. Starfield. It was Spider-Man 2. Oh, it's 8. It's terrible.
Yeah. Okay.
It did start. You're right.
You're right.
Erroneous 8s.
It's when
we've lost control of the industry, guys.
When a notable game gets a certain number, that kind of is where the new fault line is created. Like, all right, this is the spot where it's either bad or good. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I do think the smart play is something in the low 80s, because if it does happen to come out and just kind of blow everyone away and it's low 90s, then everyone's going to be about the same distance away. But something is telling me that it's going to be more like Rise of the Ronin, and that some people are going to say, hey, it's a good start, it's just not there yet. And I think there's going to be enough nitpicks for it to be like a 77 is what I'm going to guess.
Wow.
I like
Tim is going to hate this game. The bias is built in already.
I like his logic.
Tim is not conservative enough. Tim's not conservative.
Yeah, you got to be get on our level. Get in the red.
You know what it is? I also haven't played the demo, so as soon as I play it, I might be like, "Oh crap, I should have picked it."
I don't know. I kind of follow your logic big time, because like it feels like they're going to be very similar to each other, except one's spacey and one's samurai.
That has a lot of positive vibes, which I think Rise of the Ronin did too. And so I think, I mean, the people reviewing these and giving them scores are human beings who bring that baggage with them, and a lot of times they're coming with expectations, and they'll play it and be like, "Well, this isn't all that." Like this isn't like
right.
I think that happened to Rise of the Ronin.
I think people thought Rise of the Ronin was going to be the next Ghost of Tsushima, and when it was anything less, people were a little maybe extra like, ugh, maybe,
Which is totally not fair.
Tsushima was not graded fairly.
I know. Well, I talk about the greatest robbery and
what was it, like an 82 or something? Like, that was an 8. It was like in the low 80s.
It's insane to me how low that game was. Like, as an average rating. But when you
compared
talk
to what
people,
it
they're like, it's my favorite game
of
all. When you talk to people though, like it's revered. I don't.
Yeah. It's baffling.
Agreed.
People are dumb.
All right.
People are dumb.
People are dumb
for predicting what dumb people are going to say. Yeah.
People are really dumb. All right. Well, we'll go the opposite direction this time, so don't put Dan on the spot right away. We'll let him kind of fill out the other scores first, and then he gets to pick last. So I'll go first this time. So for Eiyuden Chronicle, 100 Heroes, if you're not familiar with this title, it's kind of spiritual successor to Suikoden. Of course, the late great creator of Suikoden passed away, and super sad story there, where he had some complications from a long illness. And so anyway, so that's super sad. But in his honor, I hope that this game is just so good and people love it. But I'm trying to be realistic. What do I think this is going to end up at? Part of me wants to be like, it's going to be a 95. It's going to be the best RPG ever made. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's more of a 85. So that's where I'm going with this one. I think it's going to land at 85. There'll be a lot of people who love it and give it really high scores, and there'll be a handful who give it like a 7 out of 10. Something like that, because I feel like it's going to feel a little bit older because it looks so much like Suikoden. So it's probably going to be some, older RPG pieces to it. Kyle, what do you think? Eiyuden Chronicle.
I don't know. I'm gonna go with my gut here, and I think that we're in an era where a lot of people like these like old throwback games. They Ogre Battle got the remake got reviewed pretty well.
Yeah.
You and I are both playing Unicorn Overlord, which is very throwback. It got reviewed really. I think people are in the mood for stuff like this. I'm gonna say 91.
Love that. I would love for you to be right on that one. So,
I don't know. I think it might be like the thing that everyone's like, if this is the new throwback that we're all in love with, I think that it has the ability to be that.
Agreed. Jeff, what do you think?
I think it'll potentially be this year's Sea of Stars, so I'm gonna go with 89.
89
is
That's literally what Sea of Stars got. I looked
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, it's going to be beloved
Two
by
Stars
a
is
lot.
another one I had in mind when choosing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just feels like it's going to get revered, I think.
All right, Dan, what do you think? Are you going to take the left turn like I did? Are you going to be the heel
60.
like I was in the last
60,
game?
Dan.
60.
It
could be.
fell apart. It's a failed
Again,
project.
I did do some science. All right, I did some science. I'm concerned. So I haven't seen a ton on this game because, to be honest, I haven't wanted to because I want to be surprised with it. But of what I've seen, so there's just one element. There's a lot of I'm concerned this is going to have the thing where like it's a kickstarted game, so maybe they got a lot of money but like not enough to really like do everything that they wanted to do, and there was perhaps some cuts that they had to do here and there, reusing of assets. I saw a lot of samey backgrounds in the stuff that I was watching, and I'm concerned that people are gonna do that unless the story is like phenomenal and that carries it. But I'm concerned that people are going to be like, you know, in a day and age where we have like your Octopath Travelers and your Sea of Stars.
Sea of Stars, yeah.
You know, this just,
or even Chained Echoes, right? Made by like one person or whatever.
Right, exactly. Like that was made by one versus a whole team. Like people are gonna like drag this one through the coals. I really don't want them to. I hope it comes, especially with, you know, the creator passing away. That it's maybe gonna be like high 70s. So I'm thinking like in my head I was saying 78. I'll go 79.
79. So you are doing the turn like I did. I like it. I like the last one of us is like taking a negative spin on each of these games.
I really hope it's much higher than that. I you know, but yeah.
All right. Well, this time we're gonna kick it off with Jeff for Sandland. Of course, this is the one that is it Toriyama? Is that the? Sorry, I'm really bad with names.
Another passing.
Yes, another. I mean, it's just been a sad year for just amazing creators passing away before they should have. Anyway, on the positive side, this looks really good. I did play the demo. Well, you know what? I'll give you my reasoning for my score when it comes up to me. We'll start with Jeff. What do you think this one's going to get?
I don't know anything about this game. I'm just going to say 76. I have no idea.
76.
Yeah.
For Sandland.
I just know it's an action RPG. That's all I know.
Yeah. Kyle, what do you think it's going to get?
I think it's going to get a 74 with a lot of asterisks going for Akira or whatever. You know, like a lot of people like.
Also, it's really fun. There's a fun element.
Yeah, it might actually be a 60, but it might get a bump to 74 because of just like how much people love him and like maybe they just wanted one last ride. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of right in the same camp as you guys. I'm going to put mine at 75 for that one. Dan, what do you think? And by the way, for me, it's because
corner. That's really fun.
For me, it's because I played the demo and I thought, boy, it's got some charm, and I love the design, and driving down the desert in the little area they give you is pretty cool. But it does not feel like a game that I'm going to want to play, and I think there's going to be a lot of people who review it who are just kind of like, it's pretty simple, it's fun. It's a swimming in sevens. Like I just feel like it's a swimming in sevens.
Yeah, swimming in sevens feels right. For
Demos are such a double-edged sword because like I played that. I don't know if you remember. I played the demo like very briefly, of like 15, 20 minutes, and I was like, I like the way this looks. I like the way that it feels, but like I don't know if it's just the demo. There's like nothing to do. I was just like, oh, I'm shooting some monsters and that's it. Like, what am I actually like? Can you throw a mission my way just so I can see what that mission structure is like?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's tough because apparently the anime or manga or whatever is like getting good reviews. So
there's a TV show too, right? That's getting reviewed really. Is it TV show?
There's the manga and then the anime. I'll say I'll say 77.
77. All right.
Yeah.
Boy, that is a small straight right there. We're almost there. All right. Well, there you go. There's our predictions for some upcoming games. Some games that I think at least have our curiosity, if not our full attention, for most of us. And so I'm excited to see how these turn out. Not that I need something else to play though, because
no kidding.
Even though there hasn't been anything new for 2 weeks that's really grabbed my attention, I am just so enthralled right now by the two main games I'm playing. Haven't made a ton of progress in Unicorn Overlord since we last chatted, but that is still, it's still like my active game on the Switch. I just haven't had taken much time to play it, but I have played a lot more Rebirth. But I'm curious to hear, again, we're keeping it spoiler free, folks. We will get to a spoiler discussion. Kyle, you finished this game like right after we recorded last week.
Yeah, I did.
How you feeling, man? Are you okay?
Yeah, no, I was telling Dan at the top right before we started the show. I was like, I have those like I just beat a big game blues, where I just like I don't know what I want to play now, and a lot of my days is just like I don't know how you talk about this ending, but like without talking about it.
Yeah.
But just like, wow, I was wowed. Spectacle, there was a lot of it. You know, come for a pretty hard fight. It's a pretty decently tough fight, that last fight. I thought they nailed it. Like it feels like the end of a game to me, even though it's a second, you know, it's the second part of a game. It feels like the end of an arc, and I feel like the first one felt like that too. Whereas whenever you're wrapping up that game, you're like, it felt like we're like wrapping something up here. You know what I mean? So this felt very much like that, and I'm very happy about that, because it's easy just to be like, end on a really weird note where I have to wait 3 years, you know, like Han's a Carbonite and I have to wait 3 years now. Like, it's just sometimes it feels it feels like you get held hostage a little bit, you know. So it just, there's a finality to this arc that feels nice. And I can't wait for y'all to beat it so we can all talk about it.
Is there a modern day version of that, by the way, of like everyone after Empire had to wait for Return of the Jedi?
Dune Part 1.
Yeah, Dune Part. Yeah. But that wasn't that long of a wait.
That's true, but it wasn't too much of a cliffhanger.
3 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just don't think it was too much of a cliffhanger. Infinity War was a huge cliffhanger, but they answered it within, what was that? Was that 1 year? Was it half a year?
It was about a year.
It was a year. Yeah, it was a year.
That was a long wait. Like,
because it was filmed back to back, but it was like post production.
That's the most modern example I could think of where I was just like, dude, they're making me wait another year to.
Remember when like Lord of the Rings was annual, but the Matrix sequels were like 6 months apart.
Yeah. And I that was one where I didn't know too. So when you were watching the second one, it's like, stay tuned for a trailer for the third movie coming in November. It's
That's
like,
right.
What?
What?
It's so unearthed, because you waited years for the sequel to
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
You know, it felt like the ultimate treat, you know?
Yeah, that was very cool. Yeah, well, I've put a lot more time into it, but I've spent a lot of it doing a ton of side stuff, because I do like leveling. What level do you guys recommend, by the way? I'm in level 40 now with my team. Like, is it level 50-ish by the time you finish the game?
You judge by looking at the missions, really. I mean,
I meant for the last mission is like recommended level 48 or something like that, but I was a few levels higher than that.
It obviously depends too on how much side stuff you're doing, running around, extra fights, so on and so forth. So
yeah, I'm at like 46 or 7 right now, and I still have a few more side quests to do. So I'm definitely going to be at the minimum like 48 at least for the final few quests.
It's pretty generous, it feels.
If not 50, 50 is the max, I assume. So, right, it has to be.
Well, is it okay to say? I mean, it's max level, right? Or
it's got to be. Yeah, it just makes sense mathematically when you think of how the game is spaced out and paced and stuff.
Dan's making faces.
So you can go to 51.
You go
to
Super
60,
Saiyan?
you can go to 70.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you go. Yeah, absolutely. They all go blonde. Cloud is extra blonde. The rest of them are blonde. They're all blonde.
Cloud's already blonde.
Yeah, he goes.
Cloud
goes more blonde.
He goes more blonde.
Sure.
It's like that, dude. I still love that dumb part with the little baby chick, and they look at Cloud's hair, they look at the baby chick's hair, like,
oh my gosh, I thought it was cute.
Stuff like that's very
so
cringy,
dumb.
but also so
it.
endearing. I love it.
Yeah,
Cloud's all like
stuff like that. Yeah,
Cloud's all like, whatever.
My kids have watched me play a lot of this game, and so this is no spoilers here at all. Anybody, like, just Cloud as a character, and he's always been this way. Like, it's not like it's inconsistent. But as we're watching it, my kids are watching a ton of this game with me. They're really intrigued by the story when they watch parts of it with me. And eventually they just kind of look at me, especially my daughter. She was like, okay, so you kind of have to choose which one you fall in love with, right? Aerith or Tifa. I was like, yeah, you can choose if you want to, like, romance one or the other. Yeah. Well, like, why do they like Cloud, though? He's like the hero, you know? Like, and Tifa grew up with him, and he and Aerith have a connection. And he goes, yeah, but he's just like, he doesn't talk. Right. He seems really
broody and unlikable, and he's tried to kill everybody a few times now. Yeah.
Yes. And so as I was explaining it, I was like, yeah, she's very right. Like, he is not.
How perceptive.
Not a catch. Yeah.
He's a bad boy, and they can fix him. That's
listen. She's missing certain story elements. Okay, he's not right in the head, and they're like, listen, we feel bad for this guy. Something's going on.
Oh, it's a pity. It's a pity.
Thing. Yeah. It's a pity thing. Yeah,
you're right. Once you fill in the story, it makes
Cloud.
him being a jerk appealing all of a sudden. Now that he's turning down every fun idea, grumpy about, like, it's just funny because to me, I know his character, and I'm just like, yeah, that's how he is, and like I've already accepted the fact that they all love him anyway. and that's fine with me. But it wasn't until someone pointed out from the outside, objectively, just kind of like, yeah, what do they like about him? I'm like, I don't know. Look at him.
They want to fix him, Tim. They want to fix him.
Yeah.
I can fix him. Right? That whole thing.
That's got to be what it is. It's got to be what it is. He's a project.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm really enjoying it. I actually did like the rare fiend challenge, like a kind of a mini boss on each map. I've done a couple of those. Those are pretty cool.
Oh yeah, those are fun.
So, and they're just creative. One looks like Davy Jones that you fight. The Mind Flayer, straight out of like D&D. Like, I don't know.
Yep.
So it's just been pretty cool to go back and explore some of the areas. Although, as we talked about, I'm not putting pressure on myself to 100% this game by any stretch, but I am trying to go back to like, all right, I skipped like 3 of the summons. Let me go and get some of these and just go and find the caves so I can go battle them and earn those materials. So that's been pretty fun, actually. I went back into a lot of Junon, a lot of Queen's Blood, which I really like that game. I've won, I think, just under 20. I think it's either 18 or 19 matches. And once you guys have probably done this already, there's this whole storyline with Queen's Blood, like weird cutscenes and some weird things happening around that game with what it really is.
I'm never gonna find that out. That's great. Good for that story.
Yeah.
You can do it, Jeff. You can do it.
Nope. The game just doesn't make sense. It's like physics to me. It makes no sense.
It makes sense. I think if as you go along, you get some more powerful cards. I think it's just the deck structure, and there is the RNG element of getting good cards together in your hand, but you just get get a good deck together, and you could just like literally powerhouse you, because that's basically what I did. I halfway through the whole story of Queen's Blood, I had a good enough deck where it was like these things feed off of each other well enough where like I can just reset the match, and then if I get the right cards, I just like demolish. Like I get 40 points in my thing, like I just demolish them. But it's about getting the right cards.
You can set it up where the ones that don't tally up a lot of points but do some cool special effects, play those first, and then you start building up your deck with some replacement cards. So towards the end of the round, you just start replacing with higher point cards that just like double and triple points. And I love the replace ones; those are really handy later on as the opponents get tougher. You get cards that can swap out with an existing card and we'll do some kind of bonus around it. Like the Griffin card is awesome. So anyway, so there's a few cards like that have really helped a lot. But yeah, I like Queen's Blood a lot. I'm just really having a good time with it right now. Whenever an open world game does not have me feeling burnt out with too many things on the map, even though I think there are too many things, but I don't feel like I have to do all of them. Sometimes I put that pressure on myself. I got to do everything. It's just so much stress. But I'm just kind of like, I'm going to do this until I look at the map and say, I don't want to do it anymore. And then I'll just move on. But right now I'm kind of having fun knocking out these, especially the one area where you get a, let's just say it's a jetpack-like ability to navigate around the environment. Super fun. I was like, I'm exploring everywhere with this thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've enjoyed that too.
I liked what Kyle said though, and this is why I'm super excited to do the spoiler cast, because like I actually feel, and this is also like the fun of like diving down rabbit holes and stuff. I actually feel the opposite of you, Kyle, with the whole finality thing. Based off of just some stuff that I have like kind of bouncing around in my head, I'm like, I don't know. There's some elements here where I'm like, maybe this doesn't quite. I mean, we know there's a third game, so we know it's not like actually over, but.
Well, and this is not a spoiler because we know where the game ends. It ends in the city, and the whole mission of the game is getting to that city, and you get to that city. End of the arc.
Right. In a very literal sense, yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see how it wraps up, and this coming week we've got the No Rest for the Wicked, which is the next big game for me personally that I'll be diving into, which is
the Final Fantasy 16 DLC. That's what I want to be doing.
DLC, yeah, the Final Fantasy 16
it's literally
DLC.
the same day.
Yep, and then after that, the week after that is when it goes into some of these games we mentioned. We got Eiyuden Chronicles and Sandland and Stellar Blade. Yeah, they start hitting again. But anyway, yeah, I'm absolutely loving Rebirth. We'll revisit this when hopefully Jeff and I will finish it over the next couple of weeks. I'd love to do a spoiler cast. If not, with our upcoming show, depends on how much time both Jeff and I take this week to play this game. Hopefully this coming week, maybe the week after. It just depends on.
Probably gonna have to be. I have family in town this week, so I'll be like.
We might have to do it in
stupid busy after work every night.
Yeah,
but
it's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up for sure.
Yeah.
I'm on like one of my last.
For either of y'all, there's not much left.
No, I'm on like one of my last
side quests. Dan can back me up. Those last couple chapters, like 12, 13.
Very focused.
They're focused. Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this though. What are some of the little mini game things that you enjoy? Like for example, and I said this during the demo too. I think the piano thing is just awesome. Like whether or not I'm good at it,
I love that one.
No, but like I think it's really well made. It's really cool. Yeah. I'm just not great at it.
I disagree that it's well made, but okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to convey the scale of a whole piano on a controller.
And watching people like play real music on it online is like
that's super impressive. And I love watching clips of people that are good. It's just not the format of a rhythm game that I wanted, like personally.
Totally fair.
Yeah, I'm just not. The clicking of this and my peripherals are not that good. So I can't see the other notes half the time. Like I just can't.
Yeah.
It's really like if there's a story reason to do it, I'll do it. But like I don't. Meaning if there's a side quest or a main mission thing that takes me there, I'll do it for sure.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any. I think you could totally skip
like
that
twice.
Side quest.
Yeah.
Really? They make
there's like 2 side quests you do it on. That's it. Yeah.
So
far for me, at least. I
think you could play this entire game and never play the piano once if you want to. You could play the whole.
Because I had to double back and I didn't see it in the first area at first. I had to double back and get that first mission.
Yeah, there was one in Junon, the little Junon City.
Sheet.
Yeah, there's one at little Junon City. I went back there and did that one.
I was like, I totally missed this. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one. Gosh, I think I did that one to see what it was about. And
the
then
little
I was like,
crow's
I'm not good at this at all. Like I just can't. My brain just cannot comprehend the way this is built. But then there's one on Costa del. I don't know how to say it. Is it Costa? Whatever.
Costa del Sol.
Thank you. It's the freaking beach. And there's like you walk in there and people that know Tifa are like, "Hey, play piano for us, please." And it's a side quest.
Okay. Yes, there is like a quest. I was like, I couldn't remember if it was a quest thing. Yes, there is that.
And I'm pretty sure there was another one I did after that, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was in Nippelheim, as I call it.
God damn it!
I'm pretty sure it was there, and it was like a spirits lifting thing involving cats or something.
Okay.
And I did really piss poor at that one because it had been so many hours since my last time I did it.
That one's really fun because they actually like the accompaniment, like kind of like that whole scene is like really cool because there's just a whole thing with it.
It's adorable, man. There's so much whimsy in this game compared to 16. 16 is like. It's still fantasy, but it's grounded and it's like there's a lot of trauma stuff.
Like way different like fantasy vibes because they're both fantasy like through and through. But one's great, like European fantasy, and the other's like weird Japanese fantasy.
I love the contrast.
It's like industrial, like sort of future,
kind of cyberpunky, kind of
steampunky,
kind of.
It's like all these things mixed together. So much punk.
So much punk.
Fantasy.
Yeah, 16 is much more in the realm of your Game of Thrones and your Witchers, where it's like darker and more foreboding, and everyone just
traditional medieval fantasy.
Knights and dragons,
classic.
But with 7, there's a guy walking around in Speedos and a cape, and everyone loves him. And he runs a business. And he runs a business.
He does run a business.
Really,
there is so much levity in this game. It's insane.
I love it so much.
Whereas like there weren't moments at all of levity in 16. It was just oppressively like we got to get out from underneath this boot that we're under. That's the whole game, Not whereas this game there are a lot of like little smiley moments for sure.
Yeah, not once in 16 did during a serious moment it cut to a little cat with a crown on who goes, maybe we should get out of here. Like with a little pause. And
right. Meow, 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 meow. And he does this little dumb song.
It's just different vibes, but you know what? They're kind of nailing it with both. They nailed it with 16 and they're nailing it with this one. So really, really enjoying it. I kind of right now with how I'm enjoying all the side stuff and the card games and the piano and the races, like I'm having fun doing all that. Right now, I'm like, I don't want it to end. So I'm gonna keep doing the side stuff. But this happens with every game, no matter how much I love it or even if I'm feeling mid about it. Once I start to kind of, you know what, I'm tired of doing this. I just fast forward to the end. So it could be one of those things where all of a sudden one night I just play for like 4 hours straight, and knockout.
I think I'm there myself. Like I'm just doing the green side quests, the ones that feel like, oh, there's a story attached here, there's lore here that interests me, and I'm gonna enjoy it by the time it's over. I'm gonna enjoy that I did it, and like I'm only doing those now at this point. Like I mean, I think Kyle mentioned before he finished the game, he got to a point where he's like, I'm not finding those freaking cactar things anymore. I'm not doing the Moogle. Like I'm not doing this stuff. Like there's certain open world stuff that you just kind of give up on at a certain point, but mileage might vary unless you're Dan and you want to like try to 100% everything.
I'm an insane person. I just
but then there's moments like where I'm like, well, I have to see like Johnny's story through. You know what I mean? Like there are things that like you absolutely have a drive to like see through, and the game is not like without tons of those too. So
by the way, I would
feel so bad just to walk away from
all the zip
Johnny.
lines for his story, so I just his is still floating there for me.
Yeah, I looked it up. Yeah, I had to look it up for that one.
I couldn't find
there was a couple there where I was like, where the hell? What, like I was looking around.
And then it turned out to be like right next to one, and you're like, God dang it, why is it not?
You missed one somewhere in the mess of zip lines, and it's gonna be annoying to find, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
But I don't know
if I owes you an apology.
I don't know if I mentioned this before, but there's like there's one particular that comes to mind that I'm like, dude, if I just didn't do this side quest, like I wouldn't have known this piece of information about this character. And holy F, like that's insane. Like, and I'm trying to be as vague as possible, but it's connected to Remake. So it's like if you just didn't do that side quest.
Can you say what area it's in at least?
It's in Cosmo Canyon.
Okay.
So it's in Cosmo Canyon.
I definitely did there's all of them there. I did.
Yeah, there's one I skipped involving finding springs that were drained, and you're trying to find residual. Like a guy gives you a map, and as soon as he gives you a drawing, hopefully it's not that one, is it?
No, it's it's this other one where there's like these like I don't know, I don't even know what to call them, but they look like these little like altar type of things with like the swirly energy in it or whatever, and you're going around. There's like a little robot involved.
Oh, so yeah, I did. Okay, I did the first one, and then I was like, okay, I know what that's about.
Which,
and then I moved on.
By the way, has a wholly created separate mini game for.
Oh my gosh!
And that's only part of that, which is like actually
it is a separate mini game. Yes,
kind of hard as you progress through it. I had to actually look up like how to fight the last couple of one because I was like, I don't know, man.
That's a tricky side quest or. I guess those are mini games technically, but that's a tricky one because like it's like Fort Condor, but like you got to keep switching, rotating quadrants. It's tricky. It's super tricky. But yeah, that one. So there's an actual story there that's actually really cool.
There's information you get there about something that again goes back to Remake that you're like, oh damn,
don't make me go back and finish that, Dan. How dare you?
I mean, if you want to just look it up, then
okay, that's fair.
But like I actually my mouth like kind of dropped a bit. I was like, oh shit, like because I just wasn't sure. And then like they kind of like say some stuff, and I was like, "Oh no!" It's just again, if you just didn't do that side quest, you wouldn't even have that information. You'd have absolutely no idea, no clue. So it's crazy, but this is why I'm OCD about this shit. It's like I don't want to not know those things. Like,
fair.
Yeah. So guys, it's a good game.
It feels good though that whenever a game like hooks you like that or you're that into a universe, like I'm gonna unturn all the stones. Like because what might be like a little like treacherous for us or being like, oh, I'm done, like it's fuel for you probably, right? Like
it is
probably,
but it's like an up and down thing because I mean I said you remember I was like, yeah, no, there's too much content in this game, there's just too much. But like at the same time I'm like, but I love it.
The payoffs are good enough for you though. And probably for most people, like if you do keep plucking away at it, I'm sure a lot of that stuff does have like really good like feel goody lore.
It's like exactly, like I like the lore. It's not, to me it's not so much like that it's a detriment, knock points off of the game thing. It's just more the chaos in my mind of like I want to get to the main story, but I also want to do that stuff because
rather a game have too much content than too little. So
exactly.
So.
Very true.
Yeah.
And by the way, I do like to make fun of the idea of Chadley because his name is stupid and his little ringtone is annoying, but like I've enjoyed like the combat simulator stuff and how you get materia. Like that stuff I think is well done. It's just whenever he calls,
at least they pay you well for putting up with them.
Yeah, they do.
It's worth it.
Yeah. Good job, Cloud. Like, yeah, thanks. You don't have to call me to tell me that. Like, I don't need the cutscene of you calling me. I think it's also just because
you're doing that.
The game makes you stop. Like you do a thing, it makes you stop. He pulls out the thing, it slowly unfolds, and then his face shows up, and he waits. Hi, Cloud. Good job on that. Blah blah blah. Look for another one, and he goes away. And I'm like, dude, you could have just sent that to me in a text. I don't know why.
Yeah, this could have been an email. Yeah.
He's just trying to learn how to be a real boy. Okay, he's excited about being out in the real world.
He does have a little bit of Pinocchio syndrome. Yeah.
Although he is kind of a dick, though, to that. Was it Maya or whatever?
Yeah, he's really aggressive to her.
Like literally muting her.
I created you. Please shut up. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Like, wow. All right.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, anything else that you guys are playing that's new-ish, that you're aware of, that's new, that's worth highlighting? And it could be over the last couple of weeks, but anything else that we need to highlight before we talk about? There's a movie out. I really want to hear Jeff's thoughts on of Civil War, and then we'll talk about Fallout, the show. But any other games that are new-ish worth highlighting?
Just my thoughts, Kyle. By the way, you don't get to talk about.
I'm not going to share mine.
Oh, you saw Civil War?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my bad.
Yeah.
Well, we've all seen Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah, I saw Captain America: Civil War thing.
That's a different one. Too.
I'm team Iron Man or Captain America. I don't know.
I don't care. Yeah. I'm team. Which one is Scarlet Witch on? Okay, I'm on that team. I'm team. I didn't really understand the sides in that movie too much. So. I'm for piece of paper. I'm not for piece of paper. Yeah, made for a really cool, Black Panther fight or something.
What was that RPG that came out last week that you and I were curious about, Tim? Well, I think Kyle was also curious about Terra something or whatever.
Oh, the one that had the cool visual pixel style.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I literally play it. So I started playing it. I don't have too much to say about it yet, so I'm gonna just wait to speak to it because I've only played like an hour of it. I don't think it's super long, but I also have just been playing so much Dragon's Dogma that I don't have like anything.
Playing the right game, Dan. So
yeah, sure.
What was that one called?
I was trying to like look up here on. Trying to look on the PSN store here.
Terra Memoria.
Botany Manor. Hey guys, Botany Manor is out if you want to explore and educate and immerse. I'm just going based on the genres that it's listing.
My understanding is it's a puzzle game, but I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is not my kind of puzzle game. Like, not even a little bit.
It's not even like, at first I thought, oh, you like grow plants. It's a life sim. It's not even that. It's just like a little lightweight puzzle exploration.
Yeah.
game.
It reminds me of, there's one that came out like last year, I think, that was like just first person and the puzzles were so passive that you barely did anything. And I was like, that's the vibes I'm getting here. Even though it's reviewing well, I was like, not for me.
I know that I talked about it last week briefly, and we just put a Let's Play of it up on our YouTube channel, but Withering Rooms is out. That one's, it's got such a cool horror vibe if you like horror settings, but it just wasn't that fun to play.
I love the visuals on that one.
Very unique.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
Just didn't feel like when you do the combat. I don't know. You know when you play some games and it could be a 3D game, could be 2D, doesn't matter. Like something about the movement, the way your character responds to when you hit left versus right, even little things like that, like turning direction or when you hit dodge or whatever that is. It doesn't. I mean, everyone's got their own personal preference. Like to me, none of the things felt quite right. They were all just a little bit off. So I was like, well, I'm not going to play this. And it was $25. So
I played the demo of a game that just came out. It's called Children of the Sun, and it's kind of like got this weird hybrid neon art style that reminds me of Mandy in a way. The movie Mandy.
Oh, that looks cool. I'm looking at that.
It's not like it's pink or metal, but like I don't know. The colors are just very interesting. Let's just put it that way. Like it's very much MTV Liquid Television type of thing. And the whole conceit of it is you're a sniper and you use one bullet to take out a bunch of enemies in a given map. And as soon as your bullet hits one enemy, you have to like turn it around and hit another enemy, turn it around.
Like Wanted.
It's I guess so. I guess you're curving the bullet, except the bullet has a life of its own. I don't know how.
It's got such cool lighting
of that works.
Man.
But it is kind of cool to see. Like sometimes if you hit an enemy and they're super close to another one, the other enemy will start running away, and you have to like carefully. Okay, I got to account for his run, and now I got to. And sometimes you get to use environmental stuff. Shoot like a gas tank, they explode. Yeah, but it's incredibly basic. Like it's getting 7s, and that feels about right. I would get it on like a sale for like $10.
The Steam reviewers are giving it a 95% positive, which is always encouraging.
Yeah, That's pretty cool.
Or because of its uniqueness, because it does sound unique.
Jeff,
does
there's
sound
one that
super
I think
unique,
you would
yeah.
like, at least the vibes of. It looks a lot like that Inscription game. It's called Buckshot Roulette. Did you see that one?
No, I haven't seen that one.
It's like a $2-3 game.
Okay.
And it literally looks like Russian roulette, where you actually like load up a gun, spin it around, and
It
bet
says
whether or not you're
literally
gonna live.
mind-blowing game in the description. That's funny.
Like the comments on the reviews are hilarious, but people, it's overwhelmingly positive.
Overwhelmingly, yeah.
Yeah,
It does
this-
look like
and-
Inscription.
Yeah.
That's
The
interesting.
face is creepy as hell. Holy
Yeah, it
crap.
is.
There's a couple other games I highlighted. Turbo Kid is a game based on a movie, and the movie's awesome. It's low budget, super retro, 80s tech, kind of like Kung Fury, if you remember that YouTube short.
Yeah.
But like it's not as funny. It's not as spoofy. It's bloodier. The only star in it is like Michael Ironside. But it's a really good movie for being what it is. And this is like a Metroidvania based on that, where like you get your you have like the same lightning abilities as the kid. You have a BMX bike, same thing as a kid in the movie. It looks fun, and I think it's getting insanely positive reviews right now on Steam. I know that's not a categorization, but you know what I mean. It's getting really good reviews right now.
Nice.
Very positive. That's what it's at. And then the other one I wanted to highlight is from the people that made the. I haven't played this game at all. I haven't bought any new games because I was like, I need to save this for the later on in April. But the people that made the Grand Theft Horse game, I forget what the actual product title that is.
Wasn't it called like Rustler or
Rustler?
something?
Rustler, thank you. So they made one called Yet Another Fantasy Title, or Yaft in parentheses. And it's just that. It's basically just Grand Theft Horse, but in a fantasy setting. And it's the same level of like spoofery and parody and stuff like that. So they found their niche. Like they're going to make games that people are familiar with and just spoof it.
Love it.
And it's the same perspective, like top down. It might be a little too hard to control, because that was my problem with Rustler.
Yeah, I get on a horse and it felt like you were on like ice skates.
Yeah, it's like, what? I didn't mean to run into that guy. Oh no, now the cops are after me.
You know, I've never driven many horses in my life, if you will, but like I feel like they don't slip around like that.
Little Sebastian definitely.
They don't run in place. Yeah, so I was looking to see, Dan, I still can't find the name of that one. Terra whatever. I don't know what it's
Terra
called.
Memoria. Terra
Memoria, and
I was right.
it had a cool like PS1 RPG, Breath of Fire kind of look to it. It looked really cool.
I heard Grandia comparisons. But yeah, I played the first hour of it. Yeah, the visuals are awesome. The thing that the UI is kind of a little bland. Like the UI reminds me of like a mobile game, which kind of sucks because it's like the game itself looks awesome, but then like the menus are like all just kind of hand-drawn, simplistic. The character portraits are like hand-drawn. They look nice, but like you could have just done the pixelated thing, which is what your game looks like, and it looks awesome. So like, why didn't you just do that?
Dude, that's how Symphony of War is too, which is a great strategy RPG. It's a great kind of Fire Emblem like, but I actually don't like the hand-drawn character portraits when they're talking. I'm like, just honestly, go the old Super Nintendo Final Fantasy route, where they're, for the most part, it's just their little pixels hopping up and down as they speak. Just do that. Like, and I'm fine with that.
The actual art, the pixel art style of the game itself is awesome. It looks fantastic. Yeah, but like the UI is just a little uninspired.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I've not played too much of it yet, so I want to play a little more and then I'll speak to it. Okay,
cool. Yeah, so as you guys can tell, I mean, we're kind of not trying to insult any of these games, but kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to thinking of like, what are some new games that are out? Like, there's just not a whole lot of notable new stuff. And I just appreciate everyone who could have released a game in this window that didn't, just giving us some time. Thank you for doing that. We've needed it.
The space has been great. Yeah,
I've really enjoyed it. So let's shift gears a bit out of gaming, but into movies, and I'm only going to ask Kyle this. Kyle, what do you think about Civil War? Talk to us about it a little bit. I don't want to hear from anybody else, only from you. No, but Civil War, of course, Alex Garland's new movie. It looks incredible. The reviews are awesome. Jeff and Kyle, I know now I know you both saw it. What do you guys think? And do you recommend people go see it? Is it like, hey, wait till it's out at home, it's fine, or you need to see it in theater? What do you think?
See this movie in theaters. Yeah, there's some real good spectacle in this movie. That like, I don't know, it kind of feels similar like whenever you see like Black Hawk Down, like at the theater, or Saving Private Ryan, or like a big war flick. This is a war flick, so Definitely see it in a big theater if you can, but just see it in general. I can't make it a theater. Remember it. It'll be in streaming soon. Watch it. I think it's really good. I think it's probably some of his best work, Alex Garland. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's super, super great. Jeff, why don't you say something while I collect like more thoughts that aren't like spoilers?
I only saw Captain America: Civil War again, and I was just pretending to.
Oh shit! Yeah, it's a shame.
I know.
It's a bummer.
This one, yeah, I would kind of feel bad if people miss this in theaters, because that whole experience of seeing especially the final act, which is all war stuff, seeing that on like a smaller screen without that sound, like the quality of the sound is probably some of Alex Garland's best work, or whoever his sound editor is. Like, I mean, they just crafted the crap out of it, because every gunshot you felt in your seat, like it was just so intensely loud, deliberately so. Like it felt like you were there, boots on the ground with the press, because it's about the press during
right. They do a really good job of like
civil war.
Of making you feel like you're there with them, like ducking and covering and stuff like that. The camera work is really engrossing in that way.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I was so impressed on a tactical level. It's certainly his most ambitious spectacle. Like there's some spectacle elements in Annihilation. Ex Machina is a little too grounded and condensed, but I would say, like, in terms of like visual effects, like holy crap, dude, he is stretching. He is I don't know how the whole time I'm like, so did he invade DC for real? Because this is like, this is crazy.
Yeah, what kind of set was this? Yeah.
That looked like a real helicopter came in and just started mowing people down in DC. That was crazy.
Yeah, did they really blow up the Lincoln Memorial? Like, it was in the trailer. There is a lot of that where I was kind of thinking the same thing, where I'm just like, I just can't believe how real this feels, it's just in an age where we don't build sets and stuff anymore, like it just felt like this was very grounded and very big and tangible,
Yeah, very much so. And if anybody doesn't know the premise, I mean, the movie, the trailers kind of paint it like it's and I guess the title of the movie kind of paint it like it's, it's just a war movie, like it's nonstop war the whole time. But this is from the perspective of the press, which is in my opinion, the most interesting perspective to follow, because they're not only following a war in their on their home turf, but their job as press photographers or journalists is to try and just present the information as they're seeing it. I hate to use the word objective, because you're still bringing your own biases into anything you do in life, technically speaking, and experiences. But I mean, that is kind of their goal, is to just give the public the information, and then the public decides what to do with that. So like, it's just interesting seeing that perspective. And that is the reason that the movie does not try to favor one political side over another. There are clear things that are mentioned by characters that you'll be like, oh, that sounds bad. Like when they describe things that the president did to American citizens, you go, oh, that sounds really bad. But they're not going, yeah, it's freaking Republican up there in the
I would say it's a pretty
a
politics-free movie, to be honest. I feel like there's like they don't even talk
the only
about
thing that the
like
movie's very clearly not a fan of is fascism. Like it's very clearly not a fan of dictators and fascism, which
I can get behind that.
Not a bad thing to get behind, Yeah.
Like they mention a massacre at one point of people that were in Antifa, like and they mentioned the president being on his third term, which is the start of a dictatorship, more or less at that point. When you compare it to our constitution, at least, and it's like that type of stuff is like, okay, that sounds like fascism, but nobody's flat out saying it. You don't hear anybody say it. They try to avoid that language because, much like the characters in the movie, they want people in the audience to kind of decide for themselves.
Right, and you don't really know who stands for what, you know what I mean? Like, because there's 5 factions, you know what I mean? It's not like just 2 people fighting,
Right.
It sounds like a setting for a video game, to be honest with you.
It did, yeah. You can turn this into a
really
TV show, and it could be a really dense, wild, quasi-dystopian TV show if you really wanted
Great
it to
series,
be.
yeah.
But like, there's a lot of like, there's enough nuggets like where you're like, oh, okay, so the Western forces are kind of about this, but like, it's not. That's it's in the background stuff. That's the stuff that's not in your face,
Yeah, you have the loyalist states, which is kind of just goes from like DC. It might go up from Maine to DC all the way through the middle of the states. And then you have the Florida Alliance, which, I think a character had mentioned in the movie, like Florida kind of bullied other states into being part of the alliance, which is so Florida. And then
that is very Florida.
And then you have
come on, Carolinas, you're with us.
The Western forces. We don't know much about the ideologies of these alliances at all. Other than they're just fed up with the way the current regime was operating, so they all splintered off into their own alliances and states. And then Texas and California are actually their own two separate countries, but because they're ideologically like agreed on that, they've created like their own flag of just 2 stars on it, which is in the trailers.
Yeah, apparently, I'm just looking at the IMDb page because this is just so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Apparently, Alex Garland told a reporter at the premiere that the pairing of California and Texas was twofold. One was he wanted to obfuscate the real life politics between the two and just be like, look, these two are on the same page because they're so politically opposite of each other,
right.
At least like stereotypically.
Like that's where we're at now, is that Texas and California
that's how bad it
agreeing.
is.
Yeah. The idea is that they put their political differences aside because of the challenge on the East Coast. But anyway, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and it's also, there's parallels there to the real world discussions that I feel like once every 2 years, once every year, maybe even more frequent, you hear rumblings of people in Texas and in California going, we're going to secede, right? So it makes sense that...
Let's get out of here, guys.
It makes sense that they became their own republics in the movie, and it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Not in the current infrastructure. No way.
Well, you guys can handle cold weather and stuff for the house.
We're fine.
On your own.
We're fine. We don't need seats in the House. We don't need seats in Congress at all. Like, we'll just take our people out of there. We'll be okay.
Don't worry about it.
Nobody thought that through at all. But it does make sense that they'd be like their own republics, and they would align in the sense that, like politically, they're like, what's the state status is identical, so might as well make a flag out of it, I guess. Yeah, that's interesting. All that stuff was super fascinating, but I didn't even touch on like the stuff that's in the actual movie, like the performances and the
How much is Jesse Plemons in there? I feel like he's like
barely
one of my favorites.
One scene.
Yeah, I love the gravitational pull that guy has on a performance is insane to me. Where he
discomforting,
suck you in, man.
Yeah,
like it's just.
But
he does this amazing.
Basically, then.
Yeah,
Kirsten Dunst is the lead, and the other guy, Walter Moore, who played, he was in Narcos. He played Pablo Escobar. Okay. Obviously, he lost some weight for this role. He doesn't look like Pablo Escobar in this movie. And then,
by the way, people who are wondering who we're talking about, just think of the GIF of the guy sadly sitting on the swing by himself.
Good job, Tim. Way to reach those kids.
And then, the other main girl. Well, I guess there's 4 main characters, but the other main girl is I forget the actor's name, Kaylee something. She played Priscilla Presley in the Priscilla movie. And she's also going to be in the Alien movie coming out this year. So she's kind of having a good, few roles.
She's got a run coming up.
Yeah, she's definitely going to be everywhere pretty soon. And then Steven.
And after this, I'm excited for her to be not Ripley in that movie.
Right.
I am.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
I was already in.
So good. She already wears like terror really well on her face, and being naive and being ambitious. She wears all the things well on her face. It's crazy. The guy, there's an older guy too who's in it. He plays like a vet, kind of like he's just very good at his job in terms of like what he does in the press. And he's older. He's like an older, chubbier, like black dude. He's been in so many movies before. You'll recognize him.
Dune. He's like he's the Mentat.
He's the Dune. Yes.
Who does
he has the weird eyes.
Yeah.
He's so good in this, and almost everything he says is right on the money. It's crazy. Like he's like always he's like the sage guy. And his lines are just dynamite, dude. Like his lines just
there's so many lines of dialogue that are really like pontificating. You're gonna ponder on it like after like, the movie. It's just like little things that someone will say to somebody else, and you'll be like, huh.
Yeah.
Cool. And it's just that's the kind of because like it's just like a war movie, there's crescendos and decrescendos of action, and then like the repercussions of that action and quiet moments and your happy moments and your peaceful moments and your
a lot of humor,
silence
a lot more
before the storm. Some humor too that like that's much needed. Yeah, absolutely.
Even during a tense moment where it's like,
and then all shot beautifully and wonderfully in only a way that like Alex Garland and his cinematography team can really capture something. Like it's just like the visual storytelling in this movie is really
the way he uses like in focus, out of focus stuff, kind of like a photographer does. and he
Movies about
chooses
photography
deliberately
and he integrates that into like his style of shooting the movie.
Yeah, it's incredible.
He's got a project coming up called Warfare, so he's gonna lean into this even more. That's got
that's so funny.
It's got Cosmo Jarvis from Shogun and Will Poulter, most recently from the Avengers stuff, or Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. Will Poulter.
He's the you guys are getting paid kid meme. Just to follow up on Tim.
Yeah, you guys getting paid? Yeah.
See, guys,
follow the meme
we're really
format.
hip. We know
you're really starting something here, Tim, and I'm gonna follow you into the depths of Gen Z-ism.
That's why we have sponsors now.
That's it.
Like Zevia and Coke Zero Spicy or whatever.
That's why we make the big bucks.
Yeah. Yeah. This
hold
movie
it here
rules,
for 10
man.
seconds. We get paid. Hang on.
It says spice, so Tim's eyes are gonna start going blue here soon.
Yeah.
He's gonna start like reading the future.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. It's Dune Cola.
Is it weird that it's blue? Is that normal? If you haven't seen Dune 2, you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. By the way, before we move over to talk about Fallout, which I want to talk about, I was just looking up stuff about this movie. I'm fascinated by Civil War. I do want to see it. But I was looking up Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons. I know they've been together for a while. Like, I think they're married now.
Yeah.
But when I clicked on Jesse Plemons and it had like little fun little trivia things about him, I didn't realize that people have nicknamed him. I'm guessing it's to make fun of him, and I'm sure he's okay with it. I don't know.
Damon.
Meth Damon.
Oh,
Matt Damon. He does kind of look like Matt Damon who just came out of a microwave or something.
Yeah.
I think Jesse Plemons is like one of the greatest actors working.
It's like Philip Seymour Hoffman and Matt Damon kind of.
Yes, he is.
There. I also read something in a headline today that he did the role as a favor to his wife, pretty much. Like they were like, we need somebody to come off very, very suspicious looking, and like he could at any second just snap.
And kind of scary.
And she's like, I know somebody for that.
I know a guy like that.
Yeah.
He's so good.
That's so funny.
I mean, they've done a couple stuff. I mean, Power of the Dog was fascinating.
Yeah.
Power of the Dog was a fascinating role for both of them to play.
I forgot they were both in that. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was she the mother? Was she the mother of the kid?
Is amazing.
Yeah, they're married in that. So at least I'm pretty sure they are, right?
Oh, they were? Oh, okay. Well, then who played the mother of the kid in the movie?
Because Benedict Cumberbatch plays Jesse Plemons' brother. Pretty sure.
Gotcha. Okay, so this whole time I thought Benedict Cumberbatch was married to Kirsten Dunst's character, but he was the brother.
He's the brother who was like, he's like torturing them basically. He's crazy. It's
pretty much psychologically.
Great performances, by the way. If you guys haven't seen Power of the Dog, great movie.
It's real good.
All right, let's talk about Fallout. So that show's out on Prime, and guys, I don't know if you knew this, but people weren't necessarily expecting for it to be fantastic. There's a lot of like assumptions like, well, this isn't going to be that great. Not only is it being received super well, but by fans and critics, it already got renewed for season 2, which tells me it is getting a lot of views. I mean, that's just the assumption that I'm making, is that people are watching this thing. It's been out for what, like 3 days or something?
Yeah.
Maybe it's been all week. I don't know. It feels like it's barely been out.
I think it started coming out.
It was Wednesday. Yeah, it was Wednesday.
No, you're right.
Because it was like a day early or whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, there we go. Yeah, so it's been out for like 3 days and it's just crushing it. So that is good news. I've only seen the first episode, which was basically like a short movie. It's like an hour and a half long opening episode. I don't know if all the episodes are that long.
No, some are like 40, some are 50.
Okay.
Some are over an hour.
Okay. The short version is I'm not a huge Fallout player. Definitely haven't played all the games.
Oh, you're the same as me.
I haven't finished any of them, but I played some of New Vegas when it was already an old game just because I wanted to see what all the hullabaloo was about. And it was intriguing. I just didn't commit and play it all. Played some Fallout 4. I think that's pretty much all I've ever played. Maybe a little bit of Fallout 3, but anyway, that's all I've ever really played of these games. Maybe 5 hours total spent in those worlds. So I'm vaguely familiar with like what the setting is and what's happening, but I was immediately pulled in with this show. That whole opening sequence was really intriguing. Then the time jump and then the setup and what's happening between vaults just really, I don't know. It's
got like a very goofiness to it too. That's like, I just don't know.
There always has been, right?
There are, absolutely, and bringing that goofiness from the game, which is already a weird flavor of goofiness, cross media into something else. I really thought it was an impossible task. Like I didn't think we were going to be able to capture that type of like I don't know. I think Goofy's
visceral
the right
violence with the like
Goo-
50s like
Yeah,
goofiness, like
lots of thumbs ups
but
happening.
like the naivety of people who live in vaults with the
Vault
craziness of the
dwellers.
people that live upstairs. And again, it's kind of like Yakuza, where like you get drama 1 second and like kind of people in their underwear flashing you the next
Sure.
second. Like this game, you'll find like a dead family in a really messed up letter about like how they all had to die, and then you'll walk outside. And yeah, there'll be a guy who's like high on drugs who's like trying to give you a mission that's like really zany. So it's like it's got that like whiplash effect of like wackiness too that this show has. It's just really bizarre that they were able to lock into that.
The concept of it, for anyone who doesn't know, and this is just what the concept of Fallout is. It's like 50s aesthetic with like future tech, and I don't know if in the show, I think maybe they said in the show they actually maybe kind of get behind the details of that, but like essentially the entire world just like nukes itself. Everything just everyone just
the Cold War
start
becomes
going.
actual war. It's basically what it is. Like think of
Cold
War
across the whole world
in the late 50s, early 60s.
It's between China and the U. I read up on at least that part.
China.
It was like China and the U.S. Like the most powerful.
Commies.
Well, I guess Russia's a
they call them
Reds
nuclear
country too, but yeah, it was like a nuclear energy war basically, where they were like, no, we get to keep the energy. No, we do. And they just set off all the bombs. Yeah.
And then
at least that's what I gathered from the game history, and then the show is doing cool stuff.
It dives into something deeper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But it's like a huge time jump that you do because obviously the entire surface was all irradiated and gross and shit.
Like you see the open of the show and then like 200 years pass or something like that.
Yeah. And it is the last thing in the timeline of Fallout. So like all the games happened before this. So that credits on the timeline.
That's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
Because I was going to ask
the creator had to clarify it because a lot of people were like, "Well, this retcons this." Then it's like, no, guys, everything in the game took place already. Yeah. So like, this doesn't take,
So
which gives them a lot of freedom.
Do they? And it, without spoiling anything, if there's a big reveal, but like, do they lean into specific characters? I know there's locations that are like from the game, especially from New Vegas. From what I've heard, there's like maybe some things you'll recognize if you've played the games. Mm-hmm. This is just what I've heard, generally speaking, but. Characters and storylines and main beats, those are all brand new for the whole show, right? Just in terms of like this character and their journey is totally nothing you've seen before, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. There are some. I don't want to spoil it. I don't. I think.
But if you played the games, you'll appreciate
Cogsworth.
Something.
You see Cogsworth in the trailer. He is like one of the main robot assistants from Fallout 4, but they're like a line of robots. You know what I mean? So it's like there's familiar elements and maybe familiar things, but like to expound on that anymore, might go into spoiler territory.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, like literally, like I was saying in our chat, I was like, she picks up like an item in that like first episode, and it like makes the sound effect literally out of the game and everything, and it's just like that's the item. Like she goes into the first aid kit. I was just like, it's just the little details.
The
like that are just
is like all the props are like perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like they do zoom ins on like the pipe guns and the rifle guns.
Yeah.
Like those look like they're made out of grungy bad wood and like just exactly like the games, it's very interesting how much, and the sets are all real. Like it didn't look like anything except for like some things that had to be CGI were CGI. It looked like everything was like built for this, which is are we doing this again? Is that what we're doing? Are we actually having like sets and production
like
designs
practical
like that
sets
again?
are happening?
Yeah, are we back? Yeah.
Well, in my
so back. Yeah.
The volume really head, like shook things up there for a bit, and I'm kind of glad that we got like tangible like sets again.
Yeah, in my head, that's when I kind of thought like the world was going to be difficult to bring to the forefront. Like aside from trying to use CG, but then people have their opinions on it, and is that going to come out well? Like the actual set pieces here, like they just look like what it should be. Like the environments and where she's walking through the characters are walking through, like it very much feels like what a Fallout video game is. So
they didn't take many liberties on the look of anything. Like it's lifted and just I don't know, in all the right ways.
Yeah. Just looks
Yeah, no,
great.
I think the visuals of it are great. It seems like the cast is pretty well bought in. You know, the creators and the showrunners clearly are bought in with, like you said, with the goofiness, the way they're zooming in on posters and all that kind of stuff with blood and just gunk bit and smeared on it. They do a really good job of like you guys are saying, mixing that weird 1950s, 1960s era like advertising that had the strange whimsy to it with incredible levels of gore and violence. And so they're capturing that really well. But it feels to me like the
using the
cast
same songs too, like
same songs,
same songs, yeah.
But it seems like the cast is really bought in. Like they're really going for it, from what I can tell.
Yeah, the girl, really like the Lucy girl, especially, who's like, I mean, she's in most of the show. Like, I mean, you could argue it's her show, even though there's like 3 leads. I don't know. She just wears that innocence very well, like very convincingly. Like I buy it completely when she's like trying to be the nice guy the whole time.
Well, it makes sense with the lore of like the vault, like literally that's the character that mentions like them being from the vault and like kind of like living a certain way of like kind of like politeness or like something along the lines of that.
Like every time you feel the dialogue choices that the player would make, basically, where like she's choosing the kindest option available on the menu screen at that moment in time, and it almost every time it backfires depending on who she's in front of, I guess. But that's part of the comedy and charm of the show.
I mean, not surprising at all, but both Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas specifically are starting to trend more on Steam this week.
Oh, that's cool.
Not a surprise at all.
New Vegas is the one I really like after the show. That's the one I really want to get my hands on, especially because it's the Outer Worlds guys, and I loved that game so freaking much. That I don't know why I could play something more recent. Like Fallout 4.
I mean, right now, we'll get into that a little bit later, but it's good enough. Like,
my
it feels
dad
like
and my
Oblivion,
brother. I mean, you guys, I've
not
made
quite
it clear,
Skyrim.
I've made it clear that my brother and my dad play a lot of Fallout, like 4 and 76. Right now, it's mostly 76. They do the dailies. It's insane how much they play.
I checked in on the news of that game just like a couple days ago, and apparently that game is doing very well. Which is remember when that game came out and everyone was just like, "What the?" Like people were.
It was a mess. It was a mess.
Like, it's been years, obviously, but I hear that game is really, 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 really fun and content rich, and like it feels like an actual Fallout game now.
I can give you guys a number. My dad has 1,600 hours Fallout 76, 870 Fallout 4. My brother, is at 968 in Fallout 76 and 362 Fallout 4.
Insane.
So yeah, they are like, how's the Fallout show? Like they know I watched it immediately, so they're like, is it good? Like and they don't keep up on things.
They're gonna be very happy with it.
Yeah. They're gonna love all the references.
This show is so for diehard people. But Dan, how many? I don't know what your background is on all the Fallout games. You played the New Vegas, but like, have you played 3? Did you go back and play 1 and 2? Like, how?
So I knew 1 and 2. So 1 and 2, for anyone who doesn't know, just anyone listening or you guys, are kind of more like Diablo-esque style.
Isometric. They're like Wasteland.
Wasteland today. Yeah. That's like probably a better way of framing it. Yeah, but they're not the like Bethesda first person like kind of RPG, that sort of thing. But I don't even remember. I don't know if I just saw previews on it, but I remember buying 3 on my PS3. I have Fallout 3 on the PS3, so that was my first experience with the game. 3 is still my favorite, and it's like one of my favorite games of all time. Every once in a while, I'll just like go in and be like, let me just go for a run. I always make a beeline for there's a gun called the Terrible Shotgun. I think I've mentioned
this about this.
Yeah. You did,
and it's just it's just a sick ass shotgun. Like it's called the Terrible, but it's just like pretty much like 1-2 shots, you just blow something's head off. So I always make a beeline for that thing. But I freaking love that game so much. And obviously 4 has way more going on. And 3 is like really deep as far as the systems and like choices that you make. New Vegas. Just like the amount of choices and how things affect other things, I think is like,
well, it's like a real RPG. Like your stats really matter. Like it's a lot. It's just deeper. All the
there's different like groups
deeper.
And factions and stuff, and there's like a lot of like things that are affecting other things in New Vegas. I think more so than maybe even 4, but I never actually finished 4. 4 is the one I haven't.
It's like streamlined. Like all that stuff is happening, but it's just happening a little more in the background. And I don't know. Like everything feels everything about 4. Like a lot of people who don't like it would call it stripped away. I would call it streamlined. Skyrification, of the game. So people really like Morrowind and they like Oblivion. But when Skyrim came out, even though it's like one of the greatest games of all time, people have qualms about it being too easy, you know what I mean, or stripped away or stripped down. I feel like 4 is kind of that, the Skyrification of the series.
See, that's so funny because I love Skyrim, but then Fallout 4 I never finished. Like I finished New Vegas and 3. Like I love those like more. So it's just funny that it's a little backwards. But I actually did download that, which I think that's probably what you were getting at too, Kyle.
I was excited to play 4 whenever the new update comes out, which is great timing on that. You're really going to get everybody in on that game, and again, like that game is probably the easiest to get into if you're trying to get into the series. I would say with 4, because it feels like just a shooter with, you can slow down stuff too, I guess. But hopefully people get back into the whole series. I loved hearing that Tim was saying that like 3 and Vegas on Steam is like, pump back up.
I think they're trending
like
back up.
Us,
Fallout 4 never really dropped off, so it's not listed as like trending because it already is.
I think people are waiting too. You just
my
just
dad
got that...
and brother are among those players that are still on Fallout 4.
Yeah. So that's still doing well though. It's like number 24 right now in terms of just popularity within the last 24 hours, which is really impressive when you consider the number of games on Steam. That's a lot.
Right. And how old all these games are.
And by the way, it's $5 right now. Like if you don't have Fallout 4 on Steam, it's $5.
And that patch
Very
is
cheap.
free. So if you buy the game this week, and get the patch for free, or maybe it's free.
The DLC's on sale.
I'm assuming it is.
It is. The upgrades are free. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I actually bought the season pass because I didn't have any of the DLC for 4, and it was 65% off on the PS5.
I've never played the DLC for 4, and I like 4 a lot. But I, once it was over, like all the DLC came out, and I was like, I've already uninstalled that game. I don't want to go back.
Too busy.
It's still deep. Like there's still like you have to learn how what to break down and what to crack. It's more crafting focus than some of the other games.
Right.
And it's like Red Dead, where it's not like the easiest game in the entire world to be like, what? I think I'm just gonna pick up 90 hours into Fallout 4 and just assume I know what I'm doing and totally not ruin my save and my character.
Yeah, guys, Fallout is still here in a big way in terms of the IP being relevant. Great job on the TV show. Even just after one episode, I can tell this is an excellent show.
It might be
like
one of my favorite TV finale, like first season finales I've ever watched. Like it's the way that they tie everything together. So I don't know, man. It's like poetic and beautiful and just so earned. Like every question, not every question is going to be answered. You know what I mean? Because they want more seasons. But the big stuff, dude. I was like, I can't believe they're covering this. Like I was just like, holy crap! Awesome. And that finale is just amazing.
Well, hey, you're definitely getting at least a second season at the very least.
I love that. Yeah, and I'll take as many as we can get if it's like this quality of stuff. And you could really tell the Nolans really knew the source, like the amount of keep on using that word, the reverence that they had for the series was like so obvious to me. Whereas like a lot of times people, when they want to do an adaptation, they're just like, I'm just gonna put everything's gonna have a spin on it, and I'm like, you don't need to do any of that. It's all the table's set. You just need to bring the new writing and characters. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite shows of the year. Like easily, I say easily, like I didn't watch a crap ton of TV shows already. So but yeah, it's way up there with like Three Body Problem.
And it's up there,
crazy. It's crazy right now. And Walton Goggins is my hero. I just love that dude so much. He's just
he's such a scene
magnetic.
I don't think I've ever seen him in a role that I was like, he didn't really deliver on that one. Like he's always
He always shows
always
up.
Good.
That's true.
Even back with like Sons of Anarchy with his absolutely crazy role. I don't know if you guys remember that his role in that. He's a I don't know what the term is. And so I don't want to say it. I don't want to say what it is, but like he does
some stuff
funny.
in women's clothes.
He is so funny in that role too. Like, and he makes them uncomfortable, but also a little like, especially Tig. He's like one of the main sidekicks of the main character. He's like really attracted to Walton Goggins' character, and it's
actually I remember the first time I watched he cameoed as that role. I was like, that's a very pretty man. Who is that?
Yes.
And then I found out it was Walton Goggins. It's like, what the hell?
I mean, even when he's the villain in a pretty mid Tomb Raider movie, he's still good in that. Like he did a good job in that.
Yeah. He did something in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't even remember that role though. I'm sure he doesn't either.
He was like a swarmy businessman. I don't know. Yeah, they totally wasted him. They really did. Mad. Yeah.
Such a waste. Tragic.
But the main actress there that plays Lucy, Ella Purnell.
She's great.
Never seen her in anything. I don't think.
That's because you avoid Zack Snyder bullcrap. So you're really smart.
I love Zack. Zack Snyder is like one of the greatest of our generation.
If that was the case, you would have seen Army of the Dead like at least 15 times by now.
He's an artist.
Intervention episode.
He's an artist.
But yeah, she's got like anime eyes. She's cute as fuck.
You've heard her before. You know her voice role.
I was gonna say she's Jinx from the League of Legends Arcane show.
She's got a great voice.
And she's an Invincible.
Little Smoky. Yeah.
She is an Invincible. Yeah, she showed up.
Oh, Yellow Jackets. Jeff, you've talked about Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, she was in season 1 of Yellow Jackets. Yeah.
Okay.
But
she's like the best friend of the lead character.
Oh, she was Jinx in Arcane.
Yeah. Which I was just going through the IMDb and I was like, wait a minute, what?
I think Haley Steinfeld was the other role. Whatever.
She was. She was the sister.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that's crazy.
Yeah, man. So. She's got a great American accent. Like one of the best.
Arcane season 2 is coming this holiday. I'm so excited.
Oh man, November. Excited. Please let it be my birthday.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's English, and it's one of those. She's one of those actors where you hear her talk, and you're like, nah, that's American. Shut up.
Yeah, there's no way.
That's American. Yeah.
They're just always taking our jabs.
Yep.
The card jabs.
Yeah. Totally. All right. Well, Fallout's a great show. Go watch it, especially
on Amazon. All the episodes are available. It's so easy.
Shout out to that.
It's so easy to watch.
Yep. Agreed. All right. There's a lot of news this week. This is a surprising news week just in terms of the number of games that are announced or updates that have been announced. Ubisoft released the trailer for Star Wars Outlaws. We got a whole bunch of indie games that were announced and updated. Some DLC that's pretty significant to put out there. So we'll go over some of this stuff that I think is notable at least. The first and foremost, and I think it's fair to say we're all anywhere between kind of hyped to incredibly hyped for Star Wars Outlaws. So excited for this game. That new story trailer where they're just capturing that like 70s vibe to everything from her haircut to just the stylings of it. It's just kind of like, dude,
But Tim, she's ugly as hell, so who cares? You know, we got stellar boobs over there with the beautifully, so that's gonna be the 10 out of 10.
You know what it is? It's April O'Neil in space. She looks just like April O'Neil from the old Ninja Turtles.
Sure. She does look like April O'Neil. Yeah, puffy jacket and all.
Oh, wow, I did not put that together. That is so true.
But this game, of course, I think it looks like it's going to be a blast. I don't know if I have a strong opinion about it being set yet again during the OG trilogy. I feel like a lot of the stories that we've seen and played.
Between 5 and 6. Yeah.
I will say that since the game is about the underground, this is when the underground was the most active. Okay. So the syndicates, and so it's like it is ripe for the theme of the story for sure.
Jabba looked cool. That whole scene was great. Like. Yeah, some really cool stuff.
Han on the wall, little Han on the wall.
Yeah, there was Han
right on the wall.
Why? What happened to Han? What happened? No,
hanging out.
Taking a nap.
He was hanging out.
There's actually a whole comic book series that's like 50 series. That's him about not getting to Jabba's palace. Where it's like he gets passed around through. It's crazy. Yeah, it'll take me an hour to.
He's like a collectible that's being passed around.
He is. Yeah, like whenever you see Boba like leave with him at the end of Empire, he immediately gets robbed by like Kira from Solo. And then his body gets like passed around like
oh my God.
For like 50 like it's called the Bounty Hunter Wars, and it's like one of the greatest arcs that Disney has ever done, like on stages.
That's crazy.
And then finally he ends up there, and somehow Boba still gets the nod.
He's the one who gets the credit.
Yeah, because when you jump from episode 5 to episode 6 in the movies, you just assume, he just got him there fine.
It feels like like a day later, like Luke shows up and he's like, hey.
I've mastered the Force now, and I'm here to collect. Yeah.
I got a green sword now.
That's obviously the lightsaber.
I can do mind control really well now. All of a sudden, I can just
and I wear black because I'm going through my emo phase.
Emo Luke.
I'm angst. I'm so angst.
Right. All right. So that's August 30th. Super excited for that. I just feel like the timing for that is fantastic.
Yeah.
There's not.
Agreed.
I don't feel like it's going to slip, but I just hope it doesn't. I just hope it doesn't, because I love that release date for it.
I do too. That early fall, it's late summer, early fall. Starfield was that last year, where right at the beginning of September we had this massive action RPG to dive into, and that's all I really played for a couple of weeks there. So I feel like going to be the similar,
the
same type of game.
To basically don't ever go on Reddit anytime there's a new game release date announced or anything, because everybody on there is just like, Ubisoft's trash. And I'm like, look, I'm not saying those opinions are not valid. They have shady practices.
Ubisoft is kind of problematic, yeah.
But like the developer of this did the Division 2 and obviously the first one, and dude, those games are so addicting, and and they play super well. I'm so stoked for this game because of that.
You know?
Yeah.
To counterbalance the overcritical folks from Reddit and other echo chambers that many of us frequent, I totally get it. It's not just there; it's many places. To counterbalance that bit, I showed the trailer to my two twins who are both.
Oh, they did Avatar too. Sorry, I forgot about that.
They did Avatar. Yeah. So I showed it to my twins who are 13, and this is as soon as they saw the Ubisoft logo. They're like, "Oh, Ubisoft's the goat." There's just everything they make like in their mind, they're awesome because they played Avatar game. They think the Avatar game is just like unreal. They think it's so cool. Prince of Persia, like my son is just a huge
Lost Crown.
Loves that game, and he has probably done 2 or 3 playthroughs of the Might and Magic Clash of Heroes game that I've talked to you guys about, which is also Ubisoft published.
I didn't know that was Ubisoft. Okay.
So like, as you see the logo pop up, like for my boys at least, like they've got it they don't have it associated with the junk
microtransactions.
Oh, and also Mario plus Rabbids. Like to them, they just make gold, and they're like, "Oh, Ubisoft."
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah,
wholesome,
and they do make good games. They wouldn't be in business if they made it back. You know what I mean? Like,
we're just aware of all of this stuff, you know. So there's been some dark times, but
and I've had multiple friends come up to me and go, "Are we excited about this game? Because it's just an Ubisoft game, where we're going to be climbing up towers and like unlocking things." And I'm like, "Yeah, probably, yeah." But you know what? We haven't had a Star Wars flavor of that yet.
And
like that's my bias speaking. I totally understand that, but like I'm ready to unlock towers and see bullshit icons all over my screen for a Star Wars game. I really am. We've never had an open world Star Wars game ever. Not like this, you know.
I'm also totally down with my upgrades and not necessarily being force powers this time. Like, not that I don't want that. I love that. But like, let me upgrade my gear, my gun, and my armor and whatever. Like all that.
I've always wanted a criminal story, and if they're not going to make a movie about it, like we're getting a game about it. This has been literally my like pitch for a Star Wars movie since I was a kid. Was like, just have all the syndicates like fight each other and like have the bounty hunters come in. They have to like figure out how to like everything's in disarray because everyone's fighting. Like do that, and we're kind of getting that game. You know,
that's why that 1313 game was so sad that got canceled because it seemed like
that was gonna be that. Yeah, we were gonna get that game. You know, I feel like we're gonna have elements of that too. I think there's still gonna be some Uncharted-y moments in this game. You know, where things are blowing up all around you and yada yada. So I think we're gonna get all that stuff. So.
And the level of like choices and stuff and how that interweaves if it's done really well seems really cool because it's like it's just all shady stuff going on, but it's
really
like
hoping the faction stuff is bigger, is as big as they say that it's going to be. I hope it's not just some superficial thing that's going on in the background. I hope that like it's really in depth and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. They're not really talking about this game much. You know, for something
I'm glad they put out this trailer, confirmed the release date. They got some bonus stuff you can get. You know, I think generally speaking, Ubisoft is kind of just quieter these days because they're like, listen, no news is good news. Let's only talk about our games when we have stuff ready to talk about, and let's just shut up. I don't know if that's actually what they're doing, but I think that's a little smarter. Not only with the negative news about the work culture and leadership problems and all the ugly stuff there, but also with the Skull and Bones debacle with like the quadruple A stuff. So anyway, it's better sometimes just to shut up.
Who said something about quintuple A? Was
CD Projekt Red said that as a jab.
Oh yeah.
They were like, well, they're making like quadruple A games and we're quintuple A. That's
Eventually, it's just going to be Kyle, you mentioned this earlier already. Fallout 4 is getting a current gen upgrade finally. It's been kind of talked about for a while. It was announced a long time ago.
We talked about this pre-COVID.
A couple years ago.
It was a long time ago, and they kind of just quietly delayed without any updates for a long time. But anyway, it's coming out. I think April 25th is the date that I've got on here. Increased resolution up to 60 frames per second, and you get to pick between quality and performance modes for both consoles. And then on PC, since you already can do some of that stuff, they're adding ultra widescreen support, stability improvements, making it Steam Deck verified, adding it to the Epic Store. So just some nice quality of life stuff across a bunch of platforms, which is cool.
Yeah, I saw that, and then like I downloaded it, and I was like, oh, all right, let me look for this upgrade. I was like, oh, and then I had to like search. I'd be like, oh, god damn it, 25th. You're gonna make me wait like a little
You're
bit.
like, I'm not gonna think of it then. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, it's like 11 days from now. It's just in the past.
Should have been announced, dropped. You're right. I'm with you.
Shadow drop.
Vampire Survivors has new DLC coming out that has one of the best names of DLC ever because they know their audience. It's Contra DLC, and the name of it is Operation Guns, which is just perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Get
just
some.
it's very Broforce. You guys ever played Broforce? That really silly.
I remember it. I never played it, but I remember that.
Broforce is awesome, but it has that vibe to it. Anyway, Operation Guns. It looks unique. Like it's got the Vampire Survivors look and feel, obviously, but then there's areas that it was a really fast cut of clips, so I'm not sure what I was looking at, but it looked almost like a level you were going through, like more of a side-scrolling element than I'm used to in Vampire Survivors. I don't know. It looks interesting. I'm interested to play this. Comes out on May 9th. It's going to add 11 new characters from Contra, 22 new weapons, 3 new Contra-themed zones. If you played Vampire Survivors, you know that every character you get and every weapon you get adds a whole new layer to that game. So for each run, so I'm excited for
this is like a side-scrolling thing. Yeah, they're almost like on little speed bikes.
Yeah, there's some kind of it almost looks like a new mode, or maybe it's just the way they have it structured looks different.
Yeah.
Looks cool. But the blurb for the DLC, I've got to share this, is so funny, was, are you a bad enough vampire survivor to save the president's cousin's sister's dog from the traitor squadrons of Red Falcon? I mean, that's just perfect.
Yes.
That's so Operation Guns.
Written by AI garbage. That's such a great random like series of things. That's cool.
I know, I love it. Real quick, there's this rumor that's been going around that EA's put Dead Space essentially on hold because I guess the remake had lackluster sales. And again, I don't know if it's the same forecaster that works for Square or what it is, but like I don't know, man. When a game is critically a darling, it seems like the fans loved it. I assumed it did fine. It was also on Game Pass, so I don't know. Are they working on like EA Play and Game Pass players into that? I don't know how that works. But anyway, the rumors are that they just put the whole franchise on hold, which includes potentially a Dead Space 2 remake, which some say was already in the works or getting started. Others are saying that Motive was actually working on prepping for an altogether new Dead Space game, whether it's Dead Space 4 or just kind of rebooting it, or who knows. But yeah, I guess that's kind of on hold at the moment because of lackluster sales. So I don't know where you go from there when that happens. That's just kind of like, are you just not making it now? Is it like Konami and just go quiet about some of your franchises? Like, I guess maybe that's what
bums me out. That bums me out hard if we really don't get more.
Yeah. It'll be a while at least until we do. If you guys remember, there's this studio called Loric Games that was put together a few years back. They kind of made a deal out of it in one of the presentations we've seen over the years. Former BioWare and Mythic Entertainment folks who worked on stuff like Star Wars: The Old Republic and other MMOs. They are working on what's called an airship survival RPG called Echoes of Elysium. It's set in the heavens of mythical ancient Greece. It's an aerial exploration and survival game in a procedural world. Fire up your engine and take to the skies in your handcrafted fleet of airships. Mechanical wonders clash with ancient mysteries. It's kind of cool. Kind of a cool.
You have my attention, Tim.
Yeah, airships, Greek mythology. I'm in. You got me on all of it. So that sounds pretty cool. All right, there was a showcase that I wasn't even aware that aired this week, but it happened on the 10th. I guess it's called Triple I Initiative. It's a whole bunch of publishers and developers that seem to have teamed up. It's
is Triple A better than Triple I? Like, where's the hierarchy? Like,
clearly Triple I is more important because
I assume this is like indie projects. Triple I don't know exactly what this means. Or I looked on their website and there wasn't like an explanation for why it's called this.
Indie.
I just assumed that's kind of what it was. I don't know. Anyway, because most of the games announced were indie titles that some of them are being published by big name publishers, but seem to be developed at more of a single or double A type budget and scope. But anyway, so here I'll name some of the ones I think are notable. Feel free to interrupt if you've got thoughts on these, or if you've got one or two that you want highlighted that you thought looked cool, if you're aware of some of these. But Slay the Spire 2 getting announced for next year was a pretty big one, just in terms of indie games. I know that first game was beloved by people who like not only roguelikes, but especially deck building games. People love Slay the Spire. Kill Knight looked awesome. No idea if it's actually going to play well and be fun, but it's had a really cool style. Lots of black and red that are just fighting against each other in the color palette on this one. Kind of has this isometric action game look. It almost looks like a Garlic-like, your Vampire Survivor type game, but I don't think it is. I think it's an action game where you're actually hitting the button to do the actions, from what I can tell. But it just had these swarms of enemies that are just flattened into these smears of blood when you like hit them, and it just looks cool. It looks really cool. Excellent. That's supposed to come out later this year. Shadows of Doubt, I believe it's out already, or at least in early access.
I think in early access on Steam, yeah.
Okay, because I've seen that it is actually trending as well. A lot of people playing Shadows of Doubt. It's got those teardown Minecraft style visuals where it's realistic but blocky. You know what I mean? It's got that interesting combo.
It's a procedurally generated world, and you're a detective. So like you get a case, completely random generated, and you have to like peruse the open world, I guess, to find out details about it. Yeah, it's dense. So like that's why they chose that graphical style, because it can complement that. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It could complement that style, that type of game where it's procedurally generated and stuff like that.
Yeah. That looks kind of cool. I think people
pretty rad. It's just there's a lot of. I went to one crime scene and I was like, there's a lot of crap in here to collect. I was just like, I don't have time for this. There were so many things to collect and document in my little notepad.
Listen, crimes are a mess. A lot of details.
Yeah, a lot of, you know.
Yeah, you gotta.
Murderers got to be
like
thorough.
My crime scenes like LA Noire, where everything like jingles and sparkles,
Yeah.
Like, oh, this, I gotta interact with this. All right.
Yeah, this one gives you that bulletin board that that Alan Wake 2 had, but this one's more like just, pin whatever you want together. And so I ended up with like the shittiest looking bulletin board of clues in the first case that I tried. I was like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah, I like that Alan Wake does it for you.
Yeah. Alan Wake, when you try to put it in the wrong spot, it's like, no.
That doesn't
go
there.
Yeah. The game's like, stop that. No.
That picture doesn't go there, idiot.
Yeah.
There's a game coming out. It doesn't even look good, but it's so funny. It looked like Age of Empires or something, kind of this classic RTS look with medieval setting, and then all of a sudden dinosaurs come in. It's called Dino Lords.
Yeah.
It looks
I'm in on
Dino Lords. Yes.
Yeah, it looks so ridiculous. So anyway, but there's a game that looks awesome called Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder. I highly recommend you go check out the way this one looks. It's this action RPG side scroller. I love the pixel art of this. I think your character looks cool. Kind of a steampunk fantasy setting. Comes out in May 21st. This Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder. I think it looks really neat.
That art style is rad. Yeah, dude. I'm all about that.
The animation is great. It's like your character has like this long red hair. It looks cool the way it's all moving. I don't know. It looks really cool.
Comes out the same day as Senua's Saga, so obviously I'm going to play Gestalt instead.
Yeah. Choose your redhead.
It's probably a longer game than Senua's Saga. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, that game is like 2 minutes.
Dino Lords looks rad as hell.
It does.
It looks fantastic.
You're literally a medieval knight riding a dinosaur.
Yeah, like this looks amazing.
That is like basically, hey, what did you play with as a kid? Well, my brother had these toy knights and I had dinosaurs, so we played Dino Lords, and it's like,
and then we had some blocks or Legos or something. We built the castle.
We're making this game. Never Alone 2 got announced. I actually played through that first game when it was on, I want to say it was on PS Plus several years back.
The one with like the little girl and the fox or whatever?
Little Eskimo girl, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I totally remember that one. Yeah.
It was a nice little game. It was a nice little like think Planet of Lana. It's that in that same vibe of like not difficult. You're just kind of going through a short story of a game, basically.
The game was really sweet. Very sweet.
Yeah. So this looks like, honestly, I would have believed you if you said that was clips from the first game. It doesn't look any different. Maybe it looks nicer. I don't know, but looks like the same thing. So we'll see. Let's see. The Moonlighter and Mage Seeker dev are making a game, which should be exciting because Moonlighter is a cool little like exploration, run your own shop game. I love that one. Mage Seeker, as Jeff and I have talked about, is really fun. League of Legends spinoff. This one, though, is a RTS base building, maybe some tower defense style. It's not going to click for everybody. It's called Cataclysm. Yeah, Jeff's out. Comes out in July. I think it looks cool. It's not my favorite genres. Cataclysmo.
Okay.
Name
names,
but I do like some.
That's just a word with ismo at the end of it.
Yeah.
That's not a real word.
Right. That's not a real word.
It actually sounds like it could have been like the third in that Pushmo, and there was another one they did like Pushmo and something. Remember those games on the DS?
Yeah.
DS?
Yeah, I don't know about this.
It's actually the sequel to Apocalypto.
Yeah. It's all connected.
Okay.
Mel Gibson produced all the.
Yeah, it's a Mel Gibson.
All by himself, indie dev.
He stars in it too. Yeah.
Death Must Die is a great kind of garlic-like. It's got more RPG elements too. I really like that one, and it's finally getting more content on April 20th.
Oh, so it's DLC. Okay, cool.
It's still in early access, so they're kind of building the game out. So they're just like adding their second area now.
No, that's awesome. That's super cool.
That's pretty fun. That game's awesome. Okay, let's keep moving on. Let's move down here. There's a game called What the Car. It's so stupid, but like if you liked Katamari Damacy and those kind of crazy games, like it kind of has that same vibe to me. It looks so dumb. Like it's literally a car with like legs and arms coming out. It's so weird.
Yeah.
What the hell?
It looks really strange. Comes out in September 5th.
That bear's rollerblade. Are those cars on his feet? I can't even tell.
It's a little bit nightmarish, but it is what it is. All right. But there's one that I think is at least deserves a look. I don't know if it'll end up being good. It's this 3D action platformer called RKGK/Rakugaki. I think it's just Rakugaki, and it's RKGK for short.
Rakugaki! Sorry.
But to me, that's good. That's really good. You've watched a lot of Shogun.
Watching too much Shogun, dude.
Yeah. But I got some small Hi-Fi Rush vibes from this game. So yeah, if you just put in the search on Steam like RKGK, it kind of has that vibe to it a little bit.
Yeah.
Looks fun.
I dig it.
Yeah, looks fun. They had a trailer, another trailer for Hyper Light Breaker, which just looks amazing.
I can't wait for that.
Comes out this summer still. So yeah, it looks in early access at least. It'll be out this summer. There was a trailer for 33 Immortals. Also looks great. They're gonna have a closed beta next month in May, which I would hope that means a full release or at least an early access release later this year.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
So yeah, 33 Immortals. I can't wait for that one. I love the games that. I'm blanking on what Eiyuden Spirit Fair. What's the name of that? Thunder Lotus.
Thunder Lotus. Yeah.
Yeah, they make
Thunder Lotus.
They make good stuff. What was that third game they made that was really good? Damn it.
Sundered. I love Sundered.
Oh, that's right. Sundered. That's the one I haven't played. The other ones I have.
Yeah, Sundered is
Jotun's
amazing. That crazy old-timey Mickey Mouse visual game called Mouse.
Oh, the shooter one. Yeah.
Looks crazy.
The visuals on this game are incredible.
Yeah.
It's just called Mouse.
Mouse.
Yeah.
And it's
called Mouse. See?
Very
looks like he talks like this.
First.
See? Yeah.
But like when you said if you told me they're gonna make a old timey Mickey Mouse style visual game, the last genre I probably would have guessed maybe right above like sports game would have been first person shooter, but that's what it is.
Sure.
It's a first person shooter. Because why not? And then they showed more content of V Rising, the Castlevania DLC where you're fighting Simon Belmont as one of your main bosses. It's really cool.
Oh, that's rad.
That comes out May 8th. Plus, this game is going to hit PlayStation 5. I think the 1.0 version of it, like they're getting close to the game being in full release, and have like the whole game is finished, which I think is a great kind of challenge to the Valheim devs, which is going on 3 years since early access, and they're still just getting ready to put out Ashlands, which I think might be their last area, but it's just taking a long time. Every team takes different amounts of time, I guess. Not everyone can crunch like what's the team that makes the Yakuza games? I feel like they have to live.
RGG. Yeah.
No, they probably don't crunch because they reuse every asset.
Well, but it
they
works.
Probably don't crunch at all.
But it works. So,
it just works.
And then the last but not least, the Rogue Prince of Persia comes out May 14th. Not only are we getting two
excited for this
Persia games this year, but they're both side-scrolling games.
Yeah, and this one is by the Dead Cells DLC dev, I think.
Right, so it's not the main Dead Cells guys.
Yeah, but the DLC for Dead Cells has been, I think Castlevania is included in that, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm just, this game is going to rule. It's going to rule so hard.
Kind of interesting art style, right? That kind of hand-drawn look as opposed to pixel art or something. Yeah,
I love that they're doing everything they can to dance around making a proper Prince of Persia game. That's really fun.
It's also published by Ubisoft, of course. So I think this is kind of an interesting thing where Ubisoft and others are like allowing their IP to be worked on by smaller devs and like put out a version of this. It's cool.
It's like hand drawn in like bright, almost like off neon colors, like bright yellow, purple,
like almost pastels. Some of them,
yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to
Tim,
get frustrated at that
you
game.
Skipped over the most important game, which is Cat Quest 3.
You're right. I didn't skip it, Dan. I was saving it for last because I knew we had a lot to say about.
Actually, Cat Quest Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh gosh.
Oh god.
You gotta love that. You gotta love
Just
that.
want to die.
You don't gotta.
You don't gotta.
You gotta love anything.
You don't
listen. The first one really, my wife and I didn't get into the first one's actually a fun co-op game just to play with.
I've heard actually pretty decent things about it. Yeah.
Pretty decent co-op game. The second one, I guess, was too hard for her. Like we didn't really get into it because I don't know. I guess the enemies were just too difficult for her to dodge and stuff. But I don't know if they balanced that out because whatever. But I don't know. It's a fun co-op game if you have someone, little kid or girlfriend who's like, I don't play a lot of games.
A girl for a boy.
Cats.
Yeah.
Like cats.
I do love cats. All right.
Cat.
That's all I've got for headlines. That was a lot. It was more. It was a busier news week than I had anticipated. Anyway. All right. Well, if there's anything else that you're playing or watching, gather your thoughts on those. I don't really have a lot. We have when it comes to gaming, I have had much less time in the last few weeks. So when I do game, it's all been Rebirth, a little bit of Unicorn Overlord. I've jumped into, if I'm on my PC, if I don't have access to anything else, sometimes I'll play a little bit of Elden Ring or Balatro or something like that if I've got a 30-40 minute window to think around with something. But so I don't really have anything new gaming wise. TV or movie wise, I'm trying to think if there's anything I've watched recently that's worth highlighting. I don't think there is. My wife and I are watching Survivor these days. That's kind of our jam as each episode comes out. Oh, my family is super in on that Netflix show, the Ultimate 100 or whatever it's called, that kind of crazy Korean workout show. It's like a competition.
Is that what that is? I was on some,
never heard of this.
You're gonna have to expand on this because I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It sounds fascinating.
I think I'm gonna leave it there. Let your imagination.
No.
Yeah, I had no clue. Just the streamer I was watching, it just kept mentioning, 100.
Is it called Ultimate 100? What's it called? Hang on. Maybe it's just called 100.
And I was like, what are they even talking about?
Physical 100. Yeah. Physical.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. So it's 100 contestants who are just in top physical shape. They all look ridiculous. They all look like superhero characters. There's 2 seasons of it. It is in Korean, so you kind of have to. It's not one you can watch in the background and stuff. It's a reality show where they do all these crazy competitions. But the idea is, cash reward for last one standing. It's a reality competition show. It is very interesting. The sets look really cool. It's done with some cool cinematography. It's just a show that everyone in my family's really gotten into. It's basically a bunch of superheroes just battling it out to be the last one standing.
Wow.
Yeah, this is kind of fun. If you like competition reality shows, if you don't, then don't watch it. Obviously,
ain't nobody got time for that. All right.
Yeah, totally fair.
But sometimes.
Kai, what about you? Anything else you've been playing or watching recently that you want to highlight, especially now that you've wrapped up Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah, when I beat a big game, I tend to have gamer ADD for a few weeks. So I'm just kind of let me just play I loaded up Shadow of War for no reason.
Other than that, it's amazing.
Play this again,
it's a good reason.
Baldur the Maggoty or whatever is after me. Okay, yeah, I have no idea what's going on in this save file. I picked back up Fallout Vegas on my Steam Deck. Man, that game is so old, but it runs and looks great on a Steam Deck though. So, just for how old it is, and that game is just a bunch of fun. I always do have fun picking that one up and just I don't know, tinkering around with stuff in that one. Very cool open world to get lost in. And I haven't really been playing much else, all my dumb friends keep on wanting to play Call of Duty, and I just won't.
Good lord.
I can't get anybody to play Helldivers with me, so
I say that because I know them, and that's come on, guys.
Wait.
Helldivers is right there, guys.
Yeah, for real.
Also, Dan and Jeff play Helldivers. There's no excuse for
I do want to play. I do want to play it. I just haven't bought it yet. But
I thought you did have it, Dan. I thought you did have it.
No, I was so busy with
Rebirth. I will play.
That's my fault. I thought you were a Sony fan. That's my bad, Dan. I thought you liked PlayStation, but now I know you hate it, so it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Fake
I actually just play games on my phone now. I just play mobile.
Mobile gamer.
Just mobile.
I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew
just
it.
mobile.
Yeah. Good for
This
you.
guy's on Royal Match.
Way to buck the trend. I love it. Yeah, and that's really, again, I have this tendency to just jump around everywhere after I play a big game because I just can't focus on anything because I'm thinking about how like big that last game, how much of an achievement and stuff like that it is, especially this many hours in a single game. Like it can feel. I don't know. You can feel lost after something like that.
What do you think your next big game is, Kyle? Based on new stuff coming out or something that's already out, you've been wanting to dive in because you finished Dragon's Dogma 2.
I want to double back to beat Persona 3 because I'm at the end of that. I'm at the no opponent no return Dragon's Dogma 2, so I really just need to just like jump on and like beat it, But like once you reach the end game, it locks you out of all the side stuff, So like,
okay, gotcha.
That game is exploit. You can beat the story in 35 hours, but there's like 200 hours of content, so it's like. That I'm at the point now where how long do I want this game to be for me on this play session? So who knows when I'll wrap that up because I may double back and do a whole bunch of fun side stuff and everything. That game was rent free in my brain though. I think about it all the time. I'm in another chat with my buddy where we talk about it constantly. So and I'll jump on every once in a while, do a quick mission and then log off. And the last one is I'm still replaying Halo and playing like a mission a week, so I'm never gonna get through this whole series. But I'm playing Reach right now, and Reach that game is really good looking for how old it is. That Master Chief Collection really facelifted that entire series in a kind of a really wonderful way. So I'm actually having a fun time. And boy, that game puts my sound system through the ringer. That may have the best sound in video game. I'm not even kidding you. Like, hey, the whole Halo franchise might have like just the best like sound capture.
The production quality is top tier, man.
Absolutely insane. So really enjoying playing a lot of old games right now that were like 2 generations ago. It's pretty much Vegas and Reach, and it's silly.
I think it's pretty common though. Like you finish the newest modern thing, and you're like, all right, let me.
What else do I? Old,
what else do I want to dive back into?
Did.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that's really it. Though.
I get it. Jeff, what about you? What are some things you've been playing or watching?
Nothing playing wise because we already covered it. I played like a total of half an hour of Rebirth this week because I've just been so freaking busy. Especially with Fallout. When a show like Fallout comes out, and much like 3 Body Problem, it grabs me by like episode 2. I'm like, well, then I have to finish this. Like I don't see a way around it. But as far as things that I've watched, I just wanted to shout out Conan O'Brien's Hot Ones episode. Please go watch that. I just love that dude so much.
Seeing clips of that,
and he's just one of the best comedy minds we've ever had, like period, in our lifetime. And it's just he's a treasure. That's all. And then Tim mentioned the Bray Wyatt documentary last week. I did watch that. It was a brutal watch, as I expected. Especially considering the people that were involved in the interviews that I watched that they got filmed. I was a weepy mess in that last like 20 minutes of the movie. It's really good. And it also hints at his brother taking over the mantle of being the creepy character.
Oh, cool.
And he's
Fiend or whatever.
Like maybe an offshoot. But like they're already showing stuff on WWE TV and at live events, similar to how Bray built up to his return last year, where they're playing weird music to the audience, like 30 seconds of a weird song. And people are like filming it on their phones, like, what the hell's happening, and putting it on social media. So that happened when Bray returned last year. And they're doing quick flashes of little words during matches. Like last night, they had a quick flash of like, "You forgot about us." If you have to be really fast and pause the screen, and it says it's like a flash in the right hand corner. It's like
they're doing that on purpose to like get people to talk about it.
Exactly.
That's
they're
cool.
drumming up interest basically into this new. I don't know if it's going to be just his brother, or it's going to be like a whole faction. Yeah. Deep down, I really want it to be a faction of everybody that worked with Bray Wyatt, because that just feels like it'd just be a more gratifying thing to watch.
It'd be cool if like out of there came like a new superstar, not just someone who's known, but like a new superstar.
Exactly. And his brother never got that type of treatment, so it would be really cool to see him get that opportunity. But yeah, I love that documentary. That was really cool. And I watched. I didn't have a chance to talk about it, but it came out last week. Monkey Man. I watched that in a movie theater. Super cool movie, dude. Like I remember watching the first 2 acts of the movie, which feels like it's a long time to kind of be patient with a movie. But this is the Dev Patel movie where he's beating ass there's a lot of culture in it. It's like a lot of Indian stuff in it that I don't fully understand completely. That he's making parallels to the political stuff in India in the movie that I don't have a grasp on really. But the movie starts with him kind of like already set on his revenge. Like he's going to get this guy that's responsible for killing his mom and the whole village that he was in when he grew up. But he's not a patient person starting out. So the camera work reflects that. It reflects panic during his fight scenes. It reflects him. It reflects pain. It reflects like all this stuff. So that means shaky cam. So if you don't have a stomach for shaky cam, I'm sorry. Like the first 2/3 of the movie is going to be a little rough for you when the action comes in. But it's very deliberate because by the time it's an action movie, so you're going to have like the heroic rise before the big ultimate fight at the end of the movie. And when that happens, the camera's just right there in the fight. Like you just steady cam. He's just beating ass, and it's awesome.
I like the concept of that.
I love that, dude. It was very, very deliberate, and it didn't work for a lot of people, like pacing wise. But like for me, I was like, I see what he's doing here. He's making like the camera reflect the energy of the main character and stuff like that, which is way more than I expected out of a first-time director. But yeah, the action in it is insane, and there is a message in the movie that my friends that have seen the movie have yet to really fully unpack. They just look at it on the surface and go, oh, cool, Dev made heroes out of people that are normally like marginalized or not really heroes in a lot of movies. That's cool. And I'm like, guys, there's a deeper message about the circular nature of violence in the movie, or in life or in, on the planet that people are just ignoring. Like, you're not supposed to feel good about a lot of the violence in the movie. It's much like Civil War, where you're like, this is really cool to look at, but it feels like he's going a little too far sometimes. It's not like John Wick in a sense where that's like a little bit more celebratory of the cool stunt work and visual effects. And they're saying some similar things about violence in those movies, but it's mostly just us going, yeah, F them up, dude. But this is, you can get that out of this movie if you choose to, but I do feel like there's a very deliberate shot near the end of the movie that's like, oh, he's talking about the cyclical nature of violence and like how, even if you're like repressed, it leads to extremism, it leads to violence, or if you're in power, it leads to more violence, stuff like that. It's a great freaking movie, dude. I loved it. What else? Stand-up comedy. I watched Demetri Martin's new special. Really loved it.
Oh, does he have a new one?
Yeah, dude, it's on Netflix.
I freaking love Demetri Martin.
It's really, really funny.
Such a weirdo.
He's one of my favorite writers, dude.
He is so weird. Good. I love it. I love his weirdness.
Neil Brennan's new special is really, really funny. He talks about how crazy almost everybody that's famous is. Everybody that's famous or well known or in power is just crazy.
Oh, does he talk about how he used to work with Dave Chappelle? I didn't know that does he work with him? Because I feel like he tells a story about Dave Chappelle every time he talks.
He does. He does bring it up in this one, especially because Dave's been under fire by like people on Twitter or whatever, people that aren't real. And he does be like, okay, like this has been in the news a lot. Like he even talks about comedians that have their own mental health issues and stuff like that, without that, they wouldn't have been able to achieve the success they've achieved and stuff like that. But like the way that he formats it as jokes, it's just super well done. He's really good. Tig Notaro's.
I like this 3 Mike special. I think it was his last.
God,
special.
I love that one.
I love that one. My favorite special of all time, or one of them at least.
Yeah,
because it's so high concept
and theme. Like
very smart.
Like, he was doing 3 different specials at the same time. Yeah,
right, pretty much, and just balancing jokes between them. Tig Notaro's new special on Amazon is great. It's called Hello Again, and she just tickles me, dude. She's so dry and deadpan. And
I like the little series she did where Tig doesn't know any celebrities and she would bring them on and try to figure out who they are. That was a fun little short series of videos where she like didn't know.
She's still the exact same.
Like James Vanderbeek or whatever, and she's like, I don't know who this is. It's really funny.
Oh, good. This special has a bit near the end where she's like, I love the piano. I've always wanted to play piano and tell jokes, because some comics, I think Zach Galifianakis has done that. Many comics have done that before. And then when the piano gets rolled out, she starts just banging keys, and she's like, I never actually learned how to play piano. So she's just like,
she's very dry, very dry sense of humor.
Horrible. It's just like the worst piano playing I've ever heard in my life, and she's doing jokes over it. It's so funny, dude. And that type of stuff tickles, like the commitment to the bits, like tickle me. And then Rami Youssef's new special on, these are all on like different platforms. It's crazy. Rami Youssef's new special is on HBO. It's called More Feelings. And I thought this was a really well-structured comedy special. Like it was, there were the callbacks in it were just like, oh, chef's kiss. That was brilliant. I was very surprised because going into it, I didn't really care for his comedic style or material before.
I'm gonna say I've never really thought he was that funny, but
but he, I don't know, man. The writing is just really good in this one.
Nice.
So I was a big fan of that one. And that's all I got. That's all I've watched.
Dan, what about you? Anything else you've been watching, playing that you want to highlight? Streaming even? You want to talk about your streaming?
So actually, I haven't streamed since before I went to PAX. Actually,
it's been a while.
I've been too stressed with the just the situation stuff with the wife, which actually I forgot to mention with you guys. She had her MRI done, and the main issue that we were concerned with, benign. So
it's great.
Oh, that's wonderful, man.
And you're cool with that being on the podcast? You want me to cut that out? Or are you good?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, because I've shared it in like the Discord on my streaming thing, and I tweeted it just because like when people tend to generally have like big gaps in their stream, they're kind of like, hey, heads up, everybody, like, you know. So I just kind of was like, hey, heads up, like this is
the community. That's good.
Yeah. So and yeah, I've just been no motivation because I've just been too stressed about that.
It's a lot of energy to do that for that many hours and engage with people, and so, yeah, I get it.
And
will you just go back into
else right now? You know, yeah.
Oh yeah. Will you just continue with your old school Final Fantasy playthroughs when you do start up again? You think you'll just continue?
I was contemplating because I did one stream of Final Fantasy 3, so I was like, should I just like start over, or like I was like wondering to myself, I was like, should I just start it over? But I don't know. I think I'll just decide when I get there. But I've also kind of been like, oh, but I'm in the middle of like Dragon's Dogma 2. Maybe I'll just do like a random Dragon's Dogma 2 stream just in the middle of the game. Like I don't even care.
I don't even care.
I don't care. Or I've actually been having a little bit of the itch to do Stardew on stream.
Yeah, it's a fun
but
one.
Also there's there was the update recently on PC, consoles at some point, because he always does PC first and then consoles. So I was like, oh, maybe I kind of want to do like a cozy little Stardew stream. So but yeah, I think with that big sigh of relief, she is gonna need a surgery. But it's like it's a same day surgery, not like inpatient, so like which is more intensive.
It's like a better case scenario news, which is
yeah.
Those are the surgery centers that I support at my job. The same days. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The outpatient stuff.
It's all connected.
It's our lives have culminated.
Yeah, they're connecting. Maybe if there's an issue with the procedure, I'll get a call and they'll be like, hey, the application's not working that we're trying to do a thing on.
And you'll be like, fine, move. move.
It's all connected.
There you go.
And if you do start streaming again and you do Suikoden, then I will be there from minute one.
I do want to. That's on my streaming backlog. I want to do Suikoden 1 and 2 because obviously the stuff carries from 1 to 2.
You will absolutely appreciate the PS1. Like some people will play those and be like, I don't get like. A lot of people love these so much. These are so old feeling, but you being a PS1 gamer, you play stuff like Xenogears and whatever else. You kind of get it. I think you're gonna love those games, man. I think you'll love.
Yeah. Well, I remember. Funny enough, the first one I actually ever played and beat was 3.
You played 3, that's right.
Which
great game.
Some people don't like.
Great game.
Of like the series. I think 5 is. Oh no. I think 4 is the one that's
4 is the least.
Yeah, the least.
Yeah.
But there are people that are.
And there was a DS spinoff called Tierkris that was not great.
Yeah, I played that one. I didn't mind it.
Tactics, or am I dreaming that?
There was a Tactics one that was not great
Tactics,
either.
Okay.
They had a series of like Swimming in 7 games that just weren't. I don't know what it was. They just didn't have the magic. It was really 1 and 2. There was a
time like in the 2000s where like the game industry was like just gun ho on killing as many IP as they could, running them into the ground and.
The PS3 360 area for Japanese devs were kind of like wonky.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
It was.
And they've talked to it too. Like some devs have specifically been like, yeah, there was just something in our industry going on where like things just were kind of weird or whatever. But
and there were some good ones that slipped through the cracks. But stuff like Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon and stuff like that came out then. But none of those are really truly timeless compared to some of the other ones that have come out.
I really want to play Lost Odyssey.
After Toriyama died, Blue Dragon like kicked up or whatever a little bit.
That's cool.
People were playing.
That's one I totally skipped. I never played that one.
I hear it's great. It's one I didn't. I played the demo, but like I never really played it either.
I think people like it. Yeah, I think people like it.
I would love a remaster of some of those 360 only RPGs. The Lost Odyssey, I would love a remaster of that.
That's the thing. You can play that on Xbox 3. Xbox
it's true,
Out, and like they kind of up-resed it a little bit, you know, so it's not playing in letterbox form or whatever. But like. Those are good games, man.
It goes down to 4-3, and you're like,
that wasn't so long ago where they're like impossible to play or like so old to play. Like, you know, they're pretty mechanically sound.
Yeah. But I do want to play that one. But yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2 is like the main one right now that I'm playing, which is such a different game to Rebirth. Like it's just so different. Just running around.
They're
like
complete opposite open world games.
Yeah,
like one has all the like just littered with stuff, and like the other map is just like you don't get anything. Like Dragon's Dogma 2 is like a barren map. Like,
but it is the fun. Like there's like if I see there's sort of like a path here. If I go down, oh look, cool, a treasure chest. That's fun. Like that's sort of the fun of like the exploration element of it. I do sometimes like when I've gone to a certain area that's like kind of far away from like that main hub kingdom place in the beginning of the game, and I'm like, I really just want to. Can I just please fast travel, please? Can I just do it? And it's like, I mean, you can. There's just items in the game that you know they're sparse, right? So, but it's cool. That's how the game is designed, and it's wonderful.
They want you to feel like you really went somewhere when you go out somewhere. You know,
absolutely.
And like part of the journey is the return journey. And yes, when you're on your 70th side mission, you're like, I get it, you know, but like it is purposeful design that like I have to remind myself. Absolutely. I'm like, it's okay. Just either use a fairy stone or just suck it up, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like carrying all my shit. I'm like I'm like over encumbered. I'm like, come on, I don't want to.
Right. But then on your way back, you see a cave you haven't seen yet, and you're like,
yeah. Like, but I gotta go in there. I guess
there might be some cool armor in there, man. You know, like.
Can you like set a marker on your map in Dragon's Dogma 2?
Yeah.
You could set like a marker, but you can't like populate it like with different types of markings. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know? It's not like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. I wish that would be so cool. I wish there was
cool if you could just do like drop little pins on different spots.
Yeah. Even I think Elden Ring had like that thing. Yeah, I wish it was more like that.
I gave things like they look like little wax stamps or something from back in the day.
I absolutely love like what is it, cartography? What is that when you're like mapping out a map? Like that's like one of my favorite game like mechanics ever. Like please give me the freedom to like put things on my map that just stay there statically until
it's Valheim. Them, I do that all the time and like mark where copper is and that kind of stuff.
True.
Right. Survivor games are perfect for that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dragon's Dogma 2 is very cool. I said it last time. The whole frame rate thing is just dumb.
Absolutely.
Like this game feels wonderful. It's the consistency, I think, of the frame rate, and you can lock it in Dragon's Dogma 2. You lock that 30 frames, and it feels nice. There's just there's like a weightiness to the characters that just feels like realistic and cool.
There's like that classic Capcom weightiness that they have.
Games, but yeah, it's a very cool game. I do enjoy it. Your companions are sometimes really dumb though. Like you'll kind of be like, oh no, I'm at the edge of a cliff. Let me just stop for a second. Okay, I stop myself. You go to turn around. These morons just run past you into the water. And I mean, if you know what happens when you fall into the water, then you know. So it's like
if they have dragon sickness though, or pond sickness, whatever it is. That's how you're supposed to drown them to get rid of it. So that's how.
Oh, okay.
So if you're one of your ponds start talking about getting headaches, go ahead and.
Like, all right, get in.
Get rid of them,
the water is real nice.
Stand by that ledge and just let.
It's probably better that they're not very smart now that you guys are describing this. It's probably better.
Yeah. I will say they also said that like, we added so much more dialogue to the pond, so they're not just saying the same thing over and over again. Wrong. They definitely say the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I wish there was a way to tweak it, because sometimes they do say something helpful, but then other times it's just like, we're the same, we have different vocations. I'm like, shut the fuck
and
up.
Usually every time I pull out one of them is always like, don't forget about Dragnus sickness. Have you heard of it? Let me tell you the story. I'm like, oh my god, I've heard this story. It's like 7 lines of dialogue. I don't want to hear this again, you know?
Yeah, just the same stuff.
There is some of that, like, where I'm just like, I thought you guys said y'all Never mind. Now I'm being nitpicky.
And sometimes
it makes you appreciate when you've got dialogue and like the banter that feels new every time. Like it makes you appreciate.
I think Grand Theft Auto is really good with that, or Red Dead Redemption, where it's like I don't think I've ever heard an NPC say the same thing like in Red Dead Redemption 2. You know.
Well, even like God of War and Ragnarok, as you're traveling around, I feel like their conversations. There's so many that they have in the bag that they've recorded.
Oh yeah.
I mean, unless you really play that game a ton to like go find all the secrets, then I'm sure you hear some recycled stuff, but not much. Not much recycled.
I don't remember there being any recycled. Yeah, but I guess if you really started digging into the side stuff, maybe you'd start hearing some repeats. But
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. They did really good at that. Yeah.
Really great. Yeah, and I love that. I love that dynamic. You know, the Last of Us games did it. Even more recently with Banishers, they do that really well with those two characters just chit chatting to each other.
I mean, it's obviously impossible to have enough where, depending on the length of the game, I guess.
Yeah. It's just, even like
it's a video game, right? It's not a real.
There's a finite amount of data that can be in the game. So yeah.
Yes. There's chit chat and Rebirth, but there are also times where everyone's just awkwardly quiet for long stretches of time, like when you're standing in an elevator and you're just looking at each other, like
all like 6-7 of you, like just kind of,
or like this big story moment just happened, it's super emotional, this huge big thing, some character development thing, and you get in the elevator all together to go back down, and you're just standing there like, so. Still doing the Sephiroth thing? We still doing? Okay, cool. We're doing.
Every once in a while, Red 13 would talk in his little child voice, and I'd be like, "Not right now." Not right now.
But I know we're not talking about Rebirth, but I gotta tell you, I don't like the voice switch. I understand.
Nobody should.
It. Like
I don't know if that was on purpose. Like we should all just hate that. I'm not sure.
I want him to go back. I want him to go back.
It makes sense though because of how
it does. Yeah. No.
Dan, you be quiet. It's not a good voice.
I love the other voice more. I love the other voice.
That's all I'm saying.
He's like all scarred up and cool looking, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm bored."
Well, what do you want me to do about it?
I'm a guardian.
As soon as his tail started wagging and he started talking like a friend of one of my kids, I was like, I can't do this. I don't think I can do this.
I can't do this. Yeah, his like elder type voice. He even says something about that. He's like, I shouldn't have done that. I should have just kept the
up. You're right. You're right. Your gut was right.
There should be like a toggle, like leave annoying voice on or off after this certain story point.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we need to close it out with one really important piece of news. It's super important. We have to talk about it. According to the design director, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time sold over 5 million copies.
How much did Gaston pay you to say this?
I'm just
game. I don't know what that is.
I'm just checking to see if Gaston listens all the way to the end of our show. That's all.
What you should do though is actually cut yourself off at Crash Bit. And then just like have the episode end. And
the design director of Crash,
and then Gaston has a heart attack. He just has a heart attack.
So. Well, that's all we got for this week.
Great.
Next week we got a couple new games coming out, some DLC coming out for Final Fantasy 16. Hopefully by then, either Jeff or I, maybe both, if we find the time, if we make the time, we'll have some final thoughts on Rebirth. We'll see.
I can tell you why I won't be here next Saturday. Because we record these on Saturdays. For those that don't know. I'm seeing I Think You Should Leave live. I can't wait. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a very inviting sounding band.
I know. It's
I think you should leave.
I'm gonna look at my ticket and go, do I turn around?
Am I supposed to say?
It's just if you
like showed up to leave, yeah.
We've talked about it on the show before if you haven't heard of it. It's a great, in my opinion, sketch comedy show on Netflix. Mileage may vary for the brand of humor it is, but I think it's hilarious. Kyle might like it. I don't know. And
might be the funniest thing to ever be created, in my opinion. Yeah.
So freaking funny. And I have no clue what to expect. I've refused to read any articles about the show, so I have no idea what the live version of this is going to look like.
You might need to leave, is all I'm saying. Like,
I mean,
you might not.
Sure.
I'll look at it'll be like 9. I'll be like, I think I should leave.
I think I should leave. This is the most brilliant thing ever. They made it so I felt like I should leave. This is great.
I shouldn't be here for this.
Just make direct eye contact with them and be like, should I go? Should I leave?
Well, thank you guys for watching, listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.